There we go, excellent condition. I think we're live. Or we will be soon enough anyway. Yep, we're live. I'm just
I
gonna
can bring my camera closer.
move the text chat so I can see it on the big screen. I will have no idea how good the stream quality is because half is cough, but who cares? My streams aren't about quality, they're about just having fun, so I think we're good.
We're roughly similar in size now, so I don't have to feel like a tiny person.
I might have to. Yeah, I'm just screwing around. Why not? And the annoying thing is I can't actually monitor the stream on my phone because my phone's a camera.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I do that sometimes too. I put it up on the tripod and view the chat on there.
I suppose I could use my other phone. What's up, Brandon? Oh, do we actually think Brendan Fraser?
Brandon.
Do we think Brendan Fraser's a real Brendan Fraser, or do you think it's just?
I like to believe. I like to believe, because that makes me happy. Just thinking of like Rick O'Connell liking our videos.
God,
and
it would be so good.
Commenting.
So good. The fact it's like a 12-year-old, it's like no, it must be like a 20-year-old picture of Brendan Fraser when he was in Bedazzled, right?
Oh, I thought they may have changed it. It was The Mummy the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
That was what made me really happy.
I really want to believe it's him. That's pretty funny, but yeah.
In the next Mummy reboot, they do or I guess they're still doing with Tom Cruise. I don't know what the status is on that, but like if Brendan Fraser just like busted through the wall and tackled a mummy, I would just be like, yeah, I'm game. Even now.
Yeah. So apparently someone thinks this is muted. Is that correct?
What's muted?
The stream.
The game? Hold on, let me turn the...
So many technical difficulties.
No, I hear... Yeah, I hear it on YouTube.
Oh.
I'm muting it again.
Maybe it's their YouTube that's muted.
I don't even... we go through so much to fix our technical difficulties. I don't even want to start offering tech support on stream. That's what I do some of the time. I'm not doing it.
So Brexy, you need to I don't know, unmute your system or unmute YouTube or something.
It's not super loud in general, but I would say don't touch it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You can just they'll have to boost their audio. Don't touch it.
Read my lips, which are not synced properly because the lag is like 10 seconds long.
There's like a blizzard where he is, so I mean it's yeah, I mean we're dealing with stuff as always.
Anyone in the Discord would have saw that picture that I sent.
And it's like, there's a thing to be said that a lot of those people that you see on Twitch and stuff where they have just, crystal clear connection and everything's perfect. It's like they live in Los Angeles and New York and stuff like that, or Dallas even. I live in Albuquerque and this dude lives in where they filmed The Highlander.
Accurate, yeah. They actually filmed it like 10 miles away from you. So, you know how we're talking about lag from the capture card in OBS? There might be like... I want to say like 0.2 of a second lag because when I'm driving the car.
If you have buffering on in OBS, it's 200 milliseconds exactly, I believe.
Yeah.
If your settings are default.
Probably what it is. Yeah, so I'm not even sure how many people are watching the stream because I have minimized so many windows. So we have a grand total of 6 people watching the stream, I think. But yeah, welcome. And I think me and Ryan are just going to talk in general about Cyberpunk. We're just going to answer some questions if you have any. I just want to play the game and snoop around areas I've already been to on the Xbox version because I used to love climbing around buildings and stuff, so I'm going to try and do that. Although 200th of a second lag gap is probably too much to try a bit of climbing buildings unless I flick back onto the actual main screen. But we'll see.
It's not that bad when video and sound lag on the game when it's just a little bit. I don't know. It's not
No, I mean like
terrible.
lag for me. So as I'm trying to drive the car, it's like every
Oh,
input is like 200. I say 200 mil off, so that's why I'm driving like I'm wasted.
you can try turning buffering off in the source on OBS.
Okay, where do I?
Because if your capture card is a zero lag card, it should.
It certainly should be. So where do I go to OBS to do that?
You just right click on the source of your capture card, the video input source, and then in properties, there should be buffering, and if it's on automatic or yes or buffering or whatever,
Buffering.
it's
It
like,
says.
try setting it to 0.
It says
You
auto
might be okay
detect.
without.
Disable
Yeah,
buffering.
if you turn it to off, we'll see if it gets too choppy on the picture. It should be fine.
The lag's about the same.
Okay.
That's fine. As long as I can see the chat and still chat with people, it's all good. So I'll just.
Oh, here, I'll carry the torch for a minute while you're messing with stuff. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Because it was like I was thinking of doing videos on this stuff, but I kind of don't want to go to the effort because it's stuff other people have done a bunch of videos on, but then also I can understand how you might avoid some other channels who talk about Cyberpunk, and you might not have heard about this stuff. So one of those is that GeForce now supports the Good Old Games, Steam, and Epic Game Store versions of Cyberpunk 2077. You can't currently use mods in any of them. You used to be able to do this workaround to use mods in the Steam version. I'm pretty sure it's not working right now, just from what I was able to read on forums. So there is that drawback of you can't use mods when you're using GeForce Now. But, in this world we live in where you can't barely buy a GeForce GT 730, it's worth considering. Their streaming is really good. I mean, I would say it's the best I've tried of testing all of them pretty recently, of testing Stadia and Luna and Xbox and PlayStation Now and all of them. I think GeForce Now is pretty much the best at the moment. So if you live close to one of their data centers, I actually have found it had less lag than using a wireless controller, but I'm really close to one of their data centers. So one thing finally in networking, I'm fortunate. But yeah, so especially if it's like if you're considering going out and you have nothing that will run this game, and you're like, well, all I can really afford is a PS4, then GeForce Now is totally worth considering, because even the free tier, you can run it on a 2080.
I probably wouldn't be able to run this game through GeForce Now with the internet I have because it's pretty choppy. But I like the idea.
Oh, totally.
I like the idea. It'd be way more cost effective than splurging on a fairly expensive graphics card just now. I kind of wish. So they have guitars in this game, right?
Let me catch up with the chat here.
Kind of wish.
So
you could play
yeah,
guitar.
I don't think they're planning on doing any updates. Just from what I've read, before, I don't know, early next year, whatever they're saying, that the 1.5, because again, it's sometimes hard when I'm viewing translated articles from Polish, because it just, I don't know, it seems to confuse translators. Certain languages seem to confuse translators more on like yes or no, and so sometimes it's like, I would have to know if they're saying like ain't or something and it's confusing it, but it's easy to misread or misunderstand things. But it sounds like they're skipping a 1.4 entirely, and that there's not going to be anything at all between 1.31 and 1.5. That's my understanding. Though, one of the folks on our Discord channel and also another YouTuber, Pablo397, he's Polish, and so he, is able to read this stuff in his native language, and he does regular updates and videos and stuff on this kind of stuff.
I was quite surprised they went straight for 1.5. I know they're incorporating they're obviously doing the patches and the next gen update in that, but I was quite surprised they were just going to call it 1.5 because it sounded better. It's like,
I mean, numbers and stuff like that clearly mean nothing to CD Projekt Red because you can't have two gold versions. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, you can put out future versions of the disc with a new version on them, but like when we found out, okay, no, I can't talk about that because that was from a bad leak, and it was confirmed internally. I'm not going to go into any detail on it, but I'm just going to say apparently even internally, CD Projekt Red called it the old gold and the gold version, so they even
oh
gave up on their
yeah,
own gold version.
I totally
And I
forgot
was just
about
like,
that.
oh, okay, that like forget caring about any numbers. Like I don't care if people criticize us calling it the disc beta or not knowing what to call any of this, because like
I totally forgot about that.
if they treat it as a joke internally, then I feel no shame for calling it whatever.
Yeah, I mean, my wife being a programmer, she'll be like, why are they just calling it 1.5? Like, why is if it's
Welcome,
actually?
Dean Ford, and thank you. We are. Oh, I'm doing awesome. You doing awesome, Mike?
I'm doing great. Aside from the fact I've been awake for what time is it now? I've been awake for 16 hours. I was up at 3:30 this
Whoa.
morning, so I'm doing pretty good considering. I think I might have to change my screen to the Xbox, and I might just have to put the YouTube chat on my laptop because it's very discombobulated. I actually feel like I'm playing the game like a total noob because just of that little tiny bit of game lag. But not the problem.
So as much I don't think I've ever said this in a stream or anything. I mean, like I say this all the time to you, but I don't like repeating news stories. Like I hate how news is like that now, where it's like someone does a news story and then everyone else just repeats it instead of just posting a link to that. You know. Um, so I don't like doing that on YouTube videos where a story goes around and we just have to find a way to like paraphrase what somebody else said. That being said, I saw Juicehead's video on that upcoming multiplayer mod and VR mod, which we were already aware of the VR mod, but it's cool to see progress is still being made on that. So those are two things I also am very excited about, whether it's immersive roleplay that gets some sort of multiplayer working for us. Their server's currently down and the mod's not available. They're like, says coming back this month. Um, Even though I can't run VR, I don't think either of us can run this game in VR right now. I still want it to happen.
Well, okay, so I'm quite annoyed because I really wanted to talk about the VR post that you sent me, and B, I think I could possibly get this game running in VR as it is now with the what's it called, VR?
Orpix.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I pronounce it. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to say it.
However, both my laptop and my headset would probably melt.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It'll start. I can start it on my computer, but we both have basically the same GPU, GTX 1060, 3 GB. You just have mobile, and I have the desktop version. And they're actually not as far apart as normally. Desktop and laptop graphics cards would be on that particular model, but
What about if you were
neither
gonna?
of those is capable of running this game.
But what if you were
VR.
to play this game with the mods installed for VR, but through GeForce Now? Would that work?
GeForce Now won't output in the stereoscopic or whatever
Oh
in VR
yeah.
mode. It won't do it. It has to actually be output like that into screens that are slightly offset.
Okay, good point. That was a stupid question. Um,
No, I know.
that's
I hate hearing
annoying. That's annoying because that would have been ideal.
So the thing about it though, because I should clarify, sorry, it's not in Vorpix. It's more than a little janky in what you call it, like the full immersive mode where it tries to impersonate a VR designed application, but it takes a lot of tweaking to get it normal, and the game's not designed for it. So it's not like you can set your gun to move with your head, but you can't. I don't think anyone set it to work with the motion controllers because you'd have to do that from scratch yourself. Um,
The only experience I've had with a game that was never designed for VR but was modified excellently, I might add, was Valheim. They added full VR support with motion controller, and it is stunning. and it works pretty well. So I'm hoping that this guy can do the same thing, Cyberpunk.
I think so, because it's like if you know what you're doing, you can just do the same things that developers do when they take a game originally, like with Resident Evil 7, where they take a game that they've been working on for a while and they just port it to work in VR. So I would assume from what we've experienced so far with this game and other games that, modders are always at least as good as developers most of the time. I mean, I don't know. I hate to take that kind of like pro renegade approach, but I'm a firm believer that the people out there in the wild are often the best and just don't want to go work for the corpos.
Yeah, I mean, to answer Dean's question, why I'm not getting an external GPU is because my laptop is 2 years old. I haven't even considered replacing the thermal paste, which it probably desperately needs. And next year, I'm thinking about getting a full-on rig, so I'm just going to splurge out cash. I was looking at getting a Razer desktop PC, but they're so enclosed and they're so tightly packed that there's no room for expansion unless I get another case. But that's just costing more money for the sake of it. So I might as well just buy a custom case with the component parts, have it built top spec.
Do you have Thunderbolt on your laptop?
Yes.
Oh, what? How do you have the weird ass laptop that has 128 gig boot drive and yet has a Thunderbolt port? How is that even possible to order?
I just bought it from the store because I was like, that looks pretty, it has good specs, I don't have a decent gaming laptop, I'll take it. That's pretty much how it went.
I can buy anything. Well, I can buy things that are branded as a gaming laptop if I look on Amazon that have 128 gig boot drive, but like I can't buy an actual gaming laptop with 128 gig boot drive in the US, period, as far as I know.
I think it's only 128 because there was like system files on there. I think it was. No, that can't be right.
Oh well, that wasn't the total capacity, but I mean, it would have to be 256. Like, there are sizes in between, but they're extremely rare.
I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going. Like, what are we gonna do? Wait, where am I gonna go? I've already done the Charter Hill train station. I don't even think you can climb on the train station at the platforms anymore for a lot of them on rail. They've kind of boxed them all off.
Yeah, and they made it really hard to walk on the rail itself. Like, it just kind of hurls you off sometimes.
Yeah, I am really disappointed actually. So I was doing a little bit of research in The Witcher 3 actually. I was gonna do a video on all the kind of external areas of the map, just free run. I mean, it's been done before. It's been done 100 times before by different people. But where's my car? Dude, where's my car? What I found interesting was that because they added DLC to The Witcher 3, the stuff that was incorporated into Velen was just popped to the very edge of the map, right? So it was like under the map in areas you weren't supposed to see. Why was there a dumpster in the middle of the road there? Did you see that? It just disappeared.
No, I didn't notice. I thought it was a distance car or something that was just stuck around too long.
Yeah. I mean, the DLC for Velen is under the map, just like the areas and stuff that are in Cyberpunk. But because The Witcher 3 has separate maps, there are different areas. I don't understand why they didn't do that with this game, but what I'm thinking is going to happen with Cyberpunk is that all the external areas of the map that we've already been around are going to be used for some kind of DLC. I don't think they're gonna make like another map. For example, the moon. We know the moon was meant to be in this game.
I don't think they would either, just because, I mean, it seems to me, and I think they've said that the reason that it's all mostly one map is because they really, really hope to make the game all seamless of one gigantic map. Kind of like, again, I'm going to use the example of a Souls game, but they cheat. But they just, they adhered to it for way too long and wouldn't give up on that concept until way too late in development. And then they did decide to just, there's no way they could get all the rooms inside the building, so some of them were floating around under the map.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing, right? So we were talking about, they were like, we speculate they're watching these videos and they're patching things, as they should, because if they see a flaw, they're going to want to patch it. But in The Witcher 3...
I also watch Ancient Aliens, though, so,
True. In The Witcher 3, there is that? No, it's not. They're in Vizima, the castle. There was a console and PC glitch where you could jump into the outside of Vizima by jumping through the wall. and you had to climb up onto some rigging first, where they were replacing the stained glass windows, jump across to like a golem on the wall,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
I
through the
totally
wall.
did that.
So they patched that, but do you know how they patched it?
How did they? Didn't they just add another invisible wall? Because I think I got over it again anyway.
No, they completely deleted the scaffolding that you had to climb up.
Oh, okay. It must still be in the Switch version. So, okay, this is totally a random. Like, this doesn't necessarily have to do with Cyberpunk 2077. But I wanted to do a stream of Fable: The Lost Chapters for Xbox, but on a modded Xbox with PC mods running on the Xbox version, which is something that a lot of people don't know. That so a lot of mods just modify the files within the game, or cause it to load. Replacer mods, they cause it to load something else instead of the default archives. So the only thing that stops you from doing that on game consoles is the fact that it checks if the files have been modified anyway. You can only use the version that's downloaded from their store, it comes off the disk or whatever. But if you have a modified console, you can frequently put PC mods on consoles. Like I put a ton of Dark Souls mods on the Switch version, and I was running around with modded Dark Souls on my Switch, on portable. It was awesome. And the same with the original Xbox. It's really easy to do it because the file structure is even similar to PC games. But you can do the same with modded PS4 games. So I actually kind of want to mod my PS4 and do it with this, since it's no longer like a primary gaming console for me, really. Sorry, and text to wall, but
I should totally make a video on how you're doing that, unless I don't know, that's not legal.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think they really care anymore. I don't think Microsoft, like Phil Harrison was told, is like, hey, do you know this guy's running PC mods for Fable, his Xbox? He'd probably be like, cool.
I can't seem to find where's that the monorail station with the funky lights.
Where is that?
I thought it was here. Like, I literally thought it was beside this.
I thought it was near Corpo Center.
Oh no, it's right here. It's literally right here. I just spawned at the station, so it's behind here. Because what I want to do is, I think this is one of the ways you can get into it. Oh, have they seriously? Have they?
Oh, anyway. Oh, there you go. There you go. It's just delayed. I think that's what's going on. Is I'm seeing it delayed on the stream. The one cool thing about Fable is one of those mods that I would use is the Out of Bounds mod, where you can go out of bounds in the original Fable. So it was originally going to be an open world game, and mostly, there aren't assets and stuff out there. Like there's no trees and rocks and caves and monsters and stuff. But there's tons of terrain out of bounds in Fable, and it's like you can actually see the next several adjacent areas load into memory. It loads in the geometry, because it was going to be like, yeah, it was going to be more like, say, Morrowind or something at the time.
Oh,
it loads in
God
chunks
damn it.
around it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what they did with The Witcher, right? With loading different chunks of map, that just behind loading screens. But I just found it interesting that the DLC they had for the already existing map, it's not really surprising, I suppose. They just stuck it under the map. So if you have the free cam mod, you can just go and see all the areas that are the DLC, like the Master Mirror location and things like that. So I was snooping around there, and I found some interesting things outside the walls of Vizima that I say have probably already been discovered before and talked about. But what was interesting is that the structure of those areas that are missing resemble a lot of the structures, the areas that are missing in this game, where how we have the big blank spot where Johnny Silverhand 2023 City is meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff in The Witcher 3 that resembles that kind of stuff, so I'm not sure if that were just areas for cutscenes to be loaded in, or if they're planning something else. But it's interesting to see, even though that this is their second engine from The Witcher. I think it's an updated version of their engine, isn't it, for this game?
Okay, so I'm always going to feel a little presumptuous making this assumption until they confirm that this is the case, but from everything we've seen, I strongly suspect at this point that their latent development fix was to pretty much just apply everything they did to fix stuff in The Witcher or make stuff work last minute basically apply all the same shoehorning techniques to Cyberpunk 2077 and kind of roll back some aspects of the engine that they tried to iterate on. Because I mean, I don't know, everything kind of feels like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure what they were doing with. Can I get in the back? No, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure what they're doing with the whole loading in random 2023 places out in the desert. But I was kind of hoping they were gonna make it separate maps for those scenes, because they could have ultimately had a real 2023. Did you ever play Driver Parallel Lines?
No, but I think I've seen some of it.
So half the game was in like the 70s, and then you got arrested, and then you played the other half of the game in like the 2000s. So the first,
Yeah, totally.
so the first part of the game you're playing like classic vintage vehicles and listening to cool funky music, and then when you went to 2000s, it was modern day vehicles and modern music. They could have done that with this, with 2023. They could have had a separate map for 2023, and finding exploits to run around in that map would have been brilliant. Oh look, there are the ladies of the night who are cut because they were too close to being GTA people, if you know what I mean. I wonder.
Yeah,
I still think it's funny if you honk your horn, they will spawn, but they won't do anything else. Right, where am I going? I'm just driving around. I find it difficult to talk and play this game at the same time. I'm a guy. I can't multitask very well.
well, I guess let's see. You're not running with mods or anything. You're in the Xbox version.
Yeah.
Is it still possible? Did they totally remove Katana Flight? Is that just not a thing you can do in any way now?
I believe so. I believe
Okay.
they completely removed it. It was someone, I don't know how they did it, but I think it was the same person that discovered the other versions of doing it. But yeah, it's completely gone. So you can't use it. You basically have to climb buildings, and I can't use my car method anymore. So I know
Guess
this
they
is
really don't want you exploring out of bounds.
yeah, this is the up-to-date version. This is a
Welcome,
current
City
version.
Hunter.
I think I might go to
You could see if you can get the shuttle to launch.
Oh, that's
Which
easy.
I couldn't. It didn't work for me on the current Xbox version last time I tried
Really?
to do it. Have you gone on a rampage with the Border Patrol car and saved it already?
I've saved it already. I could load.
Okay.
I suppose I
Going
could load a
forever.
save file, which I haven't saved it, but I think yeah, I've saved it.
It's so weird that there's just that one Border Patrol car in the whole game by that one shard, and once you take it and drive it, it disappears and never respawns again. And it's just like no, because I mean nobody's gonna realize you've got one go.
Yeah.
You got one go with the Border Patrol vehicle. Don't save your game after that.
Can you still go north? There is a wall added to the northern section.
North.
Like the oil fields?
Like where the yeah.
I'm gonna admit, I never found a way of getting over the northern part. I always went to the border. The shuttle's not there.
Yeah, you getting over the border on the south side and then going all the way around is probably the easiest way to do it. There were a couple ways to get out of bounds in the north side, but I'm almost certain they'll have patched it by now, because they just love doing that.
I mean, I'm curious to see if they've patched the whole border crossing thing yet, because I remember you showed me that I couldn't believe there was an easier way of getting across the border than my way of walking right across the fence. I was so proud of myself for that.
Well, I mean, they didn't. For a while, early on, there was just a hole straight up under the wall. And you just you could just drop down in a hole and go underneath the wall and climb up on the other side, and you were out. It was that simple. You didn't have to jump on anything.
Is that the Aldecaldo tunnel or just a random hole?
No, seriously, a random hole, just because the rocks didn't line up with the bottom of the wall. So there was just a hole. You could just fall through there and climb right up on the other side and be over the border wall.
That's just embarrassing. So yeah.
I eventually did that. Pay him with a bioengineered iguana, totally.
I want my pet iguana.
I love how this has evolved where you're in these zones where there are drones that are supposed to chase you.
And they just don't.
And they kind of do sometimes. Well, there's like they spawn down in some of these gullies, like they pre-placed, like they manually place some of them, and you can encounter them, and they'll kind of half-assedly try to stop you. But it, like, I don't know if that's an improvement, guys. I would have just left it where they don't spawn at all. It's just like, what the hell does that mean?
So
AWACS them.
the annoying thing about this is, I've just remembered, when you spawn vehicles outside the map now, or not near a road, they hover. Which means if you're outside the map, it's very difficult to get a vehicle to actually stick to the ground when you spawn it. So it's very difficult to get anywhere else.
You can do it if you do it on the road, because there's road outside the map on this side by Yucca.
There's a lot more invisible walls here. Yeah, I couldn't believe there was an easy way of doing this. I was heartbroken when you told me. Oh god damn it. Okay, I just saved it. I just saved it.
I don't understand why they're like the solution is to just slightly move the invisible wall to try and stop us when we, keep being able to just get around it. Like, why not just remodel the hillside to be smooth and steep and unclimbable?
Well, it still works.
There you go.
I know there's a way of getting around it still, but I'm hostile area. Oh, it must be because we're in the whatever zone it is. I was quite disappointed they made the invisible wall higher for climbing up towards the stadium. The original way I did it, by jumping on a vehicle first. That was my favorite thing to do, is climb those buildings and have a snoop around that stadium.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just funny imagining someone, it's like...
Did it stick?
Well, I was going to impersonate him and be like, Johnson, go fix that, but they're Polish, so probably wouldn't be Johnson, and they wouldn't sound like some dude from the 50s in America, but, to be that person where it's like, intern, go and put up manually construct invisible walls like you're building a freaking Lincoln log cabin to try and stop the players from doing this, instead of like, the many other more efficient and sensible ways of just stopping us from doing something.
Yeah, I mean, it was annoying because in some ways, I still don't know if any of my videos carry weight. I'm just looking at stuff and forming my own opinion. It could be completely wrong, but when I was like looking around there, like the train station and stuff, that the amount of, kind of semi-detail that went into it around the stadium, and then the way they constructed it was like, okay, this just felt to me like it was meant to be something. And then
that's YouTube speculation,
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a PhD after your name, so you can just be a guy.
Yeah.
With your ideas.
But then when they started like putting up walls and stuff, it's like, why? Like, it's I totally meant to do that. Like, you're just stopping console players. I know I've said this a million times before, but it's a bit bizarre.
That was a fine caber toss there.
Yeah, in fact, I said the vehicles wouldn't stick, and it stuck right away, but the Beast is probably the best vehicle to use in this terrain. And that's floating. God damn it. I might have to stick with the Caliburn. Yep, I don't know why the Caliburn's stuck, that's a mystery to me, but hey, it works. The fact that they don't... Uh-oh. The fact they don't drop anymore. And the fact that I can't climb... Well, I think I can climb them still. But they just won't drop, so I'm going to have to like be Einstein and calculate the angle of which they're going to spawn. And how high they're going to spawn if I want to get any higher on the console. But there's no need now with the mods in the PC. But, I kind of like figuring out how to get to high places, just like parkour and climbing buildings, because I know a lot of people will think it's fun on their console, so finding places and bugs and holes and glitches for people to do on console, I really like doing that because it's fun for me, and I'm sure it'll be fun for people if they enjoy doing it to try it themselves, so I'm down for doing more of that, but it's really hard to piece it all together. And the amount of time it takes to climb in this game now is ridiculous. quite disappointing, especially considering they cut the climbing ability, and then they left all these areas that were.
Yeah, exploring is pretty much my favorite thing in video games. So anytime that they make stopping that their focus, I get more than a little butthurt. I'm gonna leave it at that because I could rant for a while about that. Oh, what am I drinking? Nothing alcoholic because I'm live. I'm just drinking coffee at the moment.
You not let drink alcohol when you're live on YouTube? Is that a rule or something?
No, I don't know. It's weird. Like it's one of those slippery slope things where I think you can get away with it if you don't specifically like advertise what you're drinking and be like, hey, go buy alcohol. And if you don't act drunk on the stream, like I don't know, but then some people seem to get away with it. That's why YouTube is too much for me sometimes, and Twitch is way too much because I'm just like I don't even understand this guy's like I'm not even trying to be a foul and disgusting. Okay, I need to stop waving my coffee cup.
That was weird.
I have a tendency to pirate, like anytime anytime I'm drinking out of a mug, I'm just like, oh sorry, I don't mean pirate stuff, but you know, like wave it like a pirate, like da 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 da.
I don't know why this door is opening and closing by itself when I get close to it. Is that normal?
Yeah, because this is the mechanic shop.
Yeah, but it's never.
It's
You don't exit or enter this building. You're already.
yeah,
you're
no,
already
it's one of the weird things. So I don't know why. Again, like I don't know, like it's like they had people doing stuff that they didn't actually know how to do, but they had to figure it out anyway, which I think is true. Like I think there's probably people from the sound department that they were like, "You fix this quest." Like I what? Do it or you're fired. You know, because it's like that door is one of the only ones like that, and it's so that Mike will walk through it. Because just like it's a pain in the butt for me to get NPCs to walk through doors, apparently whatever they use internally is not that much better than AMM. Because yeah, like Mike walks through that door in after the opening cutscene, he walks out and the sheriff leans against the car and Mike goes in there. And apparently the way they decided to make that work is to make that door open when any model comes in proximity to it.
fair enough. That makes sense, I guess.
But it's the only time it's one of the only times I think they do that in this game, to do it that way. Yeah, it's madness.
I mean, these buildings always intrigue me, right? It's like, why are they here?
Yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna build my player town. This is where I'm gonna set my roots down. I'm having trouble.
This is a very spacious abode. It's got some good.
There's a problem with each of these. Once you look at them, they're each placed poorly in a way.
Oh yeah, because the ground clearance, or
yeah, like the ground comes up through the fence, you know, in the corner on one of them, or like they're lined up weird with the ground. There's a gap and stuff, so it's kind of a pain to build on them. But I mean, they're not bad in general.
yeah, they're quite big. Very strange. I wonder if this was gonna be like another kind of trailer.
City Hunter's talking about Mafia.
Oh god, it's been so
The
long.
first Mafia was such a cool game, so it was like for me that was my first age of being like a legit PC gamer. You know, I was like a teenager and I was mowing lawns and buying stuff with my own money, and like, you know, I got a decent for the time PC about the early 2000s when, you know, some games like that were coming out, and it was so badass because it's like, you know, it came out like right after Grand Theft Auto 3. So it's like people on PlayStation would be like, oh, Grand Theft Auto 3, you know, is so badass. And you'd be like, yeah, well, I have this game you don't have called Mafia. And it's like freaking Scarface, you know, the video game before there was Scarface, the video game.
I
loved
loved that game. That game was amazing.
And I mean, sorry, not Scarface like it's in the 80s, but it's like that where you're just like, you know, you are the mob. You are the one-man mob. Like the real Scarface, the legit Scarface in the 1920s. Real guy?
Al Capone.
His name is.
Al Capone.
No, I don't think Al Capone is actually Scarface. Like, I can't remember. I think it's actually based on another guy.
Really?
But Al Capone also had a scar on his face. I think all those dudes had scars on their faces. You can't be a mob boss without having been in a nasty knife fight.
That's very true. Yeah, exploration in any open world game is like the key thing to do, right? That's the whole thing that you want to do in open worlds, and it seems like CD Projekt Red are making it harder to explore things. But I did think one thing when I was making that train station update video. So it seemed to me that a lot of the solar panels are very conveniently placed for you to get up to that catwalk area where they originally had those boxes that said prefab missing. So I'm just wondering if that was initially meant to be an area for another penthouse area in Charter Hill for a mission, because they're very conveniently placed. So I'm wondering if that was like an alternative route to get to the rooftop, like there are many other places like that in the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. There's an extra way that it doesn't quite work, but it looks like you would have been able to get into the warehouse in that mission where you're you're going in where the floats are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a ton of those where there's like even existing mission areas that weren't cut, where there's part of an alternate path, but then they were like, nah, and they just made one door not open. They're like,
so
four choices.
What I find hilarious is that they got rid of the AV, right, that you could enter, and they replaced it with a car, didn't they?
Yeah, and then the guy that would act weird there is gone, but his gun is still there. So there's just like a gun sitting on the ground. Like the guy doesn't spawn, but his gun just falls down on the ground when you come into the area.
I love it. I love it.
That was amazing.
I mean,
it seriously does feel. I don't want to let my head get too big, but it does feel sometimes like they are watching these videos, because it's like specifically I made fun of that where I'm like, hey, I'm pretty sure you were supposed to talk to this guy because he just doesn't become hostile and acts all weird, and then you can climb inside this AV, and then they're like, delete that AV, make that guy disappear in the fastest, laziest way possible.
Yeah, and it's gone. It's like many other areas that we've looked at. It's quite funny.
Disappear him.
So what club was it on Crunch Plaza? It was like Metal Heaven or something that was specifically labeled on the elevator, because the pistols and guns, or whatever it's called, the gun store, is labeled in the elevator, and so was Metal Heaven, and it's very, very highly detailed. So that was definitely meant to be like another club, like whether it be like another Toten Tanz or something, and it's just not there. So I wonder, I still wonder, I'm hoping with everything that at least some videos that we've done for cut areas, or at least we think are cut areas, are actually going to come to fruition, and we're just going to get these areas. That would be a major boost. I would love that.
I think the gun under the AV was the one, like there was supposed to be someone in the AV. There wasn't. I don't think I've ever seen a version of the game where there was a guy in there, though I've never played the hacked pre-release version that exists on PC. But at one point there must have been a guy in there, because that's exactly the same as the guy outside that's not there anymore, where the gun just falls down. I'm pretty sure that was from someone. There was probably someone sitting in the AV where you talk to that guy and he'd be like, all right, go. And you'd sit in there and there was someone sitting next to you that would continue talking to you and continue the narrative, because that's how they do it.
Wait a minute. I think D might be talking about the Nomad mission where you shoot down the AV that has Anders Helen in it.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Then we're talking about two different things.
I think. I'm just assuming, because I remember.
Because I haven't actually seen a gun under that AV, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is one, because I'm pretty sure there would have been someone in that AV.
Yeah.
Not it just being empty and enterable and sitting there like it's waiting for you to steal it.
Yeah, the Nomad mission.
Oh yeah, totally. My bad, Dean. Sorry. I totally thought we were talking about the one inside the Arasaka compound.
It's kind of funny, because I remember them saying they've fixed the things you can pick up. They fixed it, and there's still a ton of things that you can't pick up. But I think they fixed the most important things, like legendary weapons and stuff. I think for the most part it's fixed, but there's a few bits of money here and there and some items you can't pick up. But for the most part, I think picking things up is fixed.
I should look. I haven't looked at an update on what perks. Like there were a lot of perks that didn't function when the game came out, and I just I kind of built my character on my regular files. Before that I was like, okay, well I'm not going to use this perk, and this perk, but I haven't gone back and respec'd and found out which ones they fixed.
Yeah, I never really paid attention to that. I mean, it's something that it probably would have taken a lot of time and dedication to actually figure out if those things are working.
It's not that bad, because even within the game, without using the console or anything, you can see a more detailed readout of your stats in the player stats screen. So you can kind of figure it out, like how much it actually boosts the effective stats and if it's actually working, because it'll tell you, it's like, okay, now I should be doing this much toxic damage, you know.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, something I never really
But yeah,
paid attention
extremely
to.
tedious and took a lot of dedication.
I really want to know what these buildings are. Like they're actually there in the concept art as well, aren't they? In the
Yeah,
larger
and there's
maps.
some stuff in the shards that kind of could be referencing to them. I mean, depending on what they are, they could be hydro tide power generating. What do they call that?
Okay, yeah. They're pretty freaking big.
Because there's a bunch of shards about the development of power in Night City and how they've transitioned from, you know, relying on oil and they rely on solar, and then the sun actually, so it's funny, it's not actually, they put dust in the atmosphere or something, which actually means there's less sunlight, and the solar panels don't work as well anymore in 2077.
Okay.
That's one of the developments since 2020, because like, I don't even remember what the reasoning is, but there's actually less sunlight. So the kind of dimness and washed outness is actually accurate. Like they were actually trying to go with Mike Pondsmith's lore there, which I thought was really cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. Like early on in the visual design, they really, really took a lot of his concepts to heart and tried to express them very well. And I'm gonna have respect for that, you know, regardless of the final product. I mean,
yeah, 100%.
regardless of the final product, should be my banner on my YouTube channel.
I mean, this is a prime example of that, right? I mean, what apart from No Man's Sky, because this has been compared to No Man's Sky quite a lot in relation to what they might do to make it better. But has there ever been a game that's been released that's been as bad as this in terms of quite?
I'm just waiting for you to finish so I can say Final Fantasy 14.
Quite blatant content that was just removed or just unfinished. It's just rushed out the door. I never played any of the Final Fantasy games, so.
Oh, sorry. No, it's a good thing I did. Sorry, it's a good thing I didn't. I interrupted you anyway. But thought you were gonna say a game that was this bad and then got to be really, really good. And I was gonna say Final Fantasy 14. You know, like I don't actually play it. I've never played it for more than a couple months, but I respect what it is, even though it's not for me.
Never played any of them. I think it'd be very hard to get into them now. For me.
I did play the 1.0 version though of Final Fantasy 14, and it was definitely like day one Cyberpunk bad.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls Online was not good on launch day either. It was bad, and now it's pretty good.
What, Skyrim?
No, Elder Scrolls Online.
Oh, Elder Scrolls Online, yeah, okay. Yeah,
it was that. I mean, it's, you know, it's not the greatest thing in the world now, but I mean, like day one, it was like Fallout 76. I mean, it was just like, you're like, is this a video game or a student project that was accidentally swapped with the cloud storage of, you know, these guys? Like,
maybe both.
Yeah. And I should, you know what? The thing is like I'm someone who has bashed Fallout 76 since day one and continued playing it off and on this whole time. Like I bashed it while playing it, you know, like.
Okay, tell me that was not perfectly timed.
That was amazing. I had to wait a second to see it. That you know, that being said, the Fallout 76 has always had and still has some problems. It is the only game where I can run a barbecue restaurant where I sell scorched beast meat, and other people come and they sit down at my barbecue restaurant, and I come out in my chef outfit, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll take your order, sir," and I go back and I roast scorched beast that I've recently killed in the nuke zone.
Shit.
And sell it to them. It is like RP gold. I'm just like, that's me. Like I'm.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's over for you.
I can't believe it just. What the hell?
Wait, what? Are you alive?
Yeah, man.
Amazing.
I was like, what the hell just happened there? I can't see anything.
Are you dead now? No.
No, I'm still alive. There's like chairs and stuff here. I honestly do not know what the hell just happened. How I accomplished that is.
Oh, you're caught. There must be a scene near you. The lighting is really bright or really dark outside of scenes, so that if you just like see through the corner of a window, it'll just be like glare effect.
This is where the European Space Council get assassinated, right? I wonder.
And this is almost a universal technique in games, like.
Right, where. I know there's... Right, I'm just gonna... I know I'm gonna die, but it was fun getting here. Yeah, I died. God damn it. I bet you I couldn't do that again. I bet you I could not jump from the cars into Arasaka Tower and then fall through Arasaka Tower a good, what, almost like 100 feet and then survive.
But it's been chronicled here on YouTube until you delete it.
I don't think I could. I think I might make a highlight reel. To check out, yeah, the God Race. Yeah, love it.
I remember when we used to freak out over God rays. You know, like World of Warcraft added like fake God rays, and people were just like, "Whoa, whoa."
Yeah, I remember them like boasting about God Race for the Elder Scrolls update when it came out for One X.
Oh, totally. And I mean, those are those the ray traced ones? Probably. I mean,
I
that's cool.
don't think they had ray tracing back then. Did they?
The thing, like, I don't know. Oh yeah, so funny thing. City Hunter just brought up Mass Effect Andromeda. I played that just like out of nowhere on the, because it's on Game Pass through EA Play. And I played it when that was first added. So it'd been out, I don't know, 3 years at that point, something like that. But it wasn't amazing. Like, I'm not, going to say it was better than Mass Effect 2 or anything like that. But it was dramatically not the game that I saw, like similar to Cyberpunk, where it's like, no, I'm not saying it should win Game of the Year, but if you play it now, you're not going to see anything that you recognize if you only looked at day one videos showing just how ridiculous it was. Because I played Mass Effect Andromeda and, like, people's faces weren't just like going insane and, taking off in animations of their own unrelated to what they were supposed to be doing. And like, there wasn't such bad lighting effects that people were like standing in dark shadows when you're talking to them and like all that stuff, like none of that stuff happened.
I got confused for a second. I was like, why can't I buy this vehicle? I'm pretty sure I'm on a profile where I've completed everything, but no, I've gone to another profile just to snoop around.
Oh yeah, okay, we were talking about multiplayer just a little bit earlier, but Forest Spirit brought it in up again. I don't mind talking more about it because I want it so bad. I'm really curious. I don't know. So I hate being like, no, I obviously don't hate being Mr. Negative because I do it a lot anyway. But remember Skyrim Together? Remember Skyrim Together, everyone? Like, it often doesn't, something comes out eventually that you can try, but it never really gets to where you imagined, and you have to take Fallout 76 instead. So there's my storm cloud of the day.
I mean, you quite like 76 now, though, don't you? I mean, you say it's quite well improved and you have a lot of fun with it.
Well, no, hold on though. I don't want to go so far as saying like I like it, because then it would be in the top like 5,000 games that include such cherished treasures as Skies of Arcadia and WCW versus NWO on the Nintendo 64. But it's if you're someone who likes to role play, like if you like to just live in the game and do your own thing, and you're just like, shut up, video game. From this moment on, this is now the video game where I'm a crazy southerner who kills giant rare monsters and sells them to people as gourmet food. Like, it is the game for you, because like that is what I do, and it's like my buddy is like, he's in the Brotherhood of Steel and he has his own Brotherhood of Steel bunker and all this stuff, and like you show up and there's like a robot that salutes you and is like, welcome to the Brotherhood, when you come into his bunker. And like, if that's the kind of thing you want to do and you're okay with it not even being quite as good as Fallout 4 that came out like 7 years ago, you can have a lot of fun with 76. But much like Cyberpunk 2077, if you go in with the kind of expectations that people had before launch, it's never going to get there, bro. It's never going to happen. Like, let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I've still to try 76, to be honest with you. Oh my god, they actually patched this. They patched this as well. What?
Oh, they hate you.
So, before there was a mystery ledge here that let you climb up to that catwalk, and now it's completely gone.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just talking about a player mod for multiplayer. I
Oh,
haven't
oh, I got
lost
it.
faith that CD Projekt Red is going to release some sort of multiplayer product. They very well may, you know. They never said that they canceled it. They just said they were reevaluating it. It was no longer going to be something that you just access from the menu within the game. It was going to be, and then like everybody's like, oh, they're going to sell it to us as a separate product, or it could just be like, did anybody like I played Final Fantasy 15, and they were going to have multiplayer for that, and then they're like, no, that would be friggin' stupid to just run around as Noctis and Prompto like shooting each other. So they made Comrades, which was a standalone thing that was free, and you just if you own the game, you could download it for free, and it was a totally different mode, that was multiplayer. So it's like that's my understanding. That's what they've actually said. Everything else is just people assuming that means it's there's going to be a Cyberpunk MMO, or they've canceled it. It's never going to happen. Any of that stuff, like from what they've actually literally said, that seems to be the case, which is not weird or abnormal for a game.
I would. I mean,
Fortnite is literally that. Fortnite is literally that. Sorry.
I mean, I'm just trying to get my head around if they're gonna I mean, they said they were gonna incorporate some kind of multiplayer for The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. Well, not The Witcher 3, but Witcher and Cyberpunk possibly. I'm just wondering if they're gonna gently.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're gonna gently introduce it to this, or if they're gonna introduce it into a standalone, like you were saying.
I don't know what they said before, but when they were like Cyberpunk and The Witcher, I was like, wait, we're getting multiplayer in The Witcher 3 from 2015 now?
Did they say Witcher 3 though, or was it just the Witcher franchise?
Well, they already have it in the
damn it.
Gwent has multiplayer, doesn't it?
Well, by its very nature.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know. I thought they said The Witcher 3, which I mean, I'm not saying don't do it. I'd like, please, Cyberpunk or Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red. You are Cyberpunk now, CD Projekt Red. You will forever be known as Cyberpunk. The shame will never leave you. No, like, that would be awesome, but that would be weird if just after all these years, all of a sudden, multiplayer came out for The Witcher 3. That'd be awesome, though.
How would that work? Just you and Siri running around killing monsters. What's going on here?
Oh, is there an Amazon downage? Bummer. I don't play what the cool kids are playing, so I play Cyberpunk and Fallout 76.
You're super cool.
And actually, I want to put those down so I can play Blue Stinger, a game that no one played when it came out on Dreamcast except me and a few other extremely hardcore fans. Because when it's Christmas time, it's Blue Stinger time.
I really enjoyed that documentary series, High Score. I've not finished it yet, but I really like it. About classic video games. I love it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, oh yeah, Blue Stinger. Blue Stinger is I mean, it's not really a survival horror game. People compared it to Resident Evil when it came out, but it's more action. It's an action game where you collect things and solve puzzles. That takes place during Christmas on an island where there was like scientists experimenting on dinosaur fossils, and then a meteor crashes with a dinosaur alien in it. And yeah, the plot doesn't really make any sense, but it's like an action movie where you're like this pirate dude and this Tom Cruise looking dude, and you have crazy weapons and you fight giant dinosaur mutants, and it's Christmas time, so it's like sometimes there's Christmas music and you're walking around in Christmas decorated areas. There's a whole stream of the Japanese version of it on my YouTube channel, so you can just watch the whole thing if you want. It's my amazing monotone commentary.
Do you know what it sounds like? I can hear a wind chime in the background, but it totally sounds like I'm speaking to someone from NASA. You know when you're speaking to Mission Control and that radio ping.
Back door is open a little bit. Yeah, I can close the door. I just get tired of the dogs going out all the time. We don't have a single sliding door in the house, so I can't put a doggy door in the house.
It's all good. It's so funny. It sounds like you're at NASA.
So I'm actually, I don't know. I always put all this work into these videos that are really personal to me, and then like 12 people watch it ever. Like, yet review a cheap 4K TV for Black Friday, and 50,000 people will watch it. But I really want to do Christmas or winter holiday games that aren't on every other list video. Do Blue Stinger, Parasite Eve, a few others. And also, so just weird little aside, but I think of the original Silent Hill as a holiday game because it's like it says in the original backstory that like Harry likes to go out of season on vacation, presumably because he's a cheapskate. But and then it's like starts snowing anyway in Silent Hill, so I always got this like Silent Hill's like, oh, it's the Masons. Let's have some Christmas anyway. So I'm like, it's Christmas time because Silent Hill said so.
It's so much more creepy though when it's like winter, dark, and snowing. I don't know why, it just is.
Yeah, and no, it wasn't Ash yet. That was totally retconned by the movie, and then that was totally did not exist before the movie. Yeah, I really like that. So I don't know though. I've actually avoided reviewing Resident Evil 8 because like I boycotted it because I hate platform specific marketing. Like I'm just from now on any time that they try to force me to buy something on one platform or the other when the game is exactly the same across Xbox and PlayStation, I'm not going to buy it in the launch window. So anyway, because of that, I didn't buy it even though I love Resident Evil games. And then I played it and I was like, this is like a half-assed Resident Evil 4 redo. I'm like, I mean, this is all right, but like this is like they tried to do Resident Evil 4 again and they just didn't have the juice in them, Like I'm sorry if I'm being incredibly harsh to Resident Evil 8, but like after people like blew all this smoke up its, skirt, I was expecting this thing was going to be the greatest thing ever, and then I played it and I was like, this is
Did you play the VR version though?
no, actually I didn't even know it had VR support.
I'm sure Resident Evil 4 came out on VR recently. Yeah, it did.
Oh no, sorry, no, I thought you were talking about 8 because 7 had VR support.
I kind of want to play it and see what it's like.
Oh, I'm sure it's awesome. I'm sure it's similar to the Wii version. So the Wii version, like, I mean, as much as you're like, oh, the Wii version, I bet it was stupid, but the motion control aiming was actually pretty cool. And once you got you, so I'm a Resident Evil 4 obsessee. So like that's one reason I'm being so harsh on Resident Evil Village was because they strictly said they were taking inspiration from Resident Evil 4. That's one of my top 5 games, and I didn't think it was as good as Resident Evil 4. But anyway, I played the crap out of that game when it came out. I mean, I got to the point where it was like I was getting, what were records at the time in Mercenaries, but I loved the hell out of it. So I gave the Wii version enough of a chance to like figure out all the controls, and it was totally freaking awesome, honestly. Like once you got used to it, like you just be popping off roundhouse kicks and knifing them right in the throat and like blasting them in the head. Like you just like you became Jet Li all of a sudden. And from what I've seen, the VR version is like that and a bag of chips. So I'm just like, hell yes.
I want to try it out. I would think it would be quite fun, but I keep putting it off. But yeah,
well, you have a Quest 2, so
yeah,
there's not much stopping you.
It's just the time and I've got so many other things in mind. Who was it? Oh yeah. Oh my god, that's a long name. Woody's Mortal Gaming says about early on people watch stuff like this Metro system and stuff. He's just curious to what people might want now, but I think a lot of people do still want things that add immersion, like the Metro and the transit system and stuff. But I think because it's so, I don't know, just abandoned. I just wonder if they're going to add it again, because somebody made a good point that because of the scale of the city, it's not that huge. Maybe adding Metro wouldn't be, I don't know, it's not viable for them, I guess, because there's a mod for it on PC and it doesn't really add much gameplay to the game apart from just the scenery aspect of things. What do you think?
One thing, so I mean, sorry, this is kind of like a backhanded answer to your question, but I'm getting kind of lost in the tornado of what people actually want from this game, because there's just like, I don't even understand this, but it's like, there are a lot of people that are so mad that one thing wasn't in the game since it came out that they're willing to just like, without even caring, like just, paste that everywhere they can. Like they come back to Reddit every other week and put up basically the same rant saying like, I hate them, I will never like this game until they add this, or put this back in or something like that. And like that is drown out so much of what, random folks in general, because your average person just comes and posts one piece, says their piece, moves on, maybe says it somewhere else. But this game has like inspired so many people that'll do this where it's like they come back and every single week, like they're on Steam, they're on Reddit, like, they do basically the same rant. So it's like I don't really know what the mainstream of people actually want from this game, and it's hard to interpret.
It is hard because I know for me, I'm just gonna snipe this guy, just ambush him. For me, it just seems like there was so much thought put into some of these areas, and they really wanted to make an ambitious game, and it got changed so many times. It just ultimately it was like a mismatch, and just a whole mix up of everything they wanted, but all chopped up in different stages of development. So
Yeah, I hate to like Eeyore again, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I lived through Duke Nukem Forever and Final Fantasy 14 again, and let me think how many others that I can name here. But it's kind of like, as much as I'm not happy about these things, they don't shock me anymore.
yeah, and I'm kind of annoyed at them, not CD Projekt Red, but game developers in general, just remastering games, counting on people's buying them for nostalgia and stuff. Like the GTA trilogy is a perfect example of that. I mean, was it a joke to them? Were they? I mean, there's no. They must have played that. They must have seen what that game was like before releasing it.
Yeah, I just think it's like disconnect at the top. It has to be where it's like excuse me, the people in charge are so disconnected from what's going on. They're just like, okay, is that, remaster still going on? Okay, cool. Are they basically meeting their checkpoints? Good, whatever. It has to be that because there's just, I don't know. There's no way it's more efficient to do it this way.
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting like taller buildings, where like catwalks would go from building to building. You would literally have the AVs, flying past. Very Blade Runner, I was expecting that. And they just didn't explore as much verticality as they said they were going to. And that's the big thing about exploring a city. You want to climb around. I mean, I'm surprised there's not a Spider-Man mod for this game. I know there was a grappling hook made, but
there's a kind of, yeah, it's kind of the grappling hook one. It was kind of like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean it's such a great place to explore. I mean,
yeah, the thing is I don't know. I hesitate to judge this city in this game too harshly because although it has a ton of flaws, I mean, when you really sit back and think about it, and it's like, what do you compare it to? Who has done this? And I mean, it's like people say Grand Theft Auto. It's like, well, the buildings are rectangles in Grand Theft Auto. They don't have all this cyberpunk crap connecting them together all over the place, and like, all this stuff that they tried to do in this world where it's all original. Like they're taking inspiration from movies and art and all of this stuff, but there's not another game that you can look at like Deus Ex. Deus Ex is it's a hallway shooter basically compared to this. I mean, it's got some freedom and there's areas you can walk around in, but they can't just look at what Eidos Montreal did and use that as a model of how to then take it one step further. This is like trying to do 20 steps further, and they misstepped on like 17 of those 20 steps. But I mean, like, that's what it was like being in the early days of 3D before Mario 64 came out. Like, it wasn't like it was actually, for a lot of people, it was playing Donkey Kong Country 3 and then playing Mario 64, and it was, yay, 3D, this is amazing. But for those of us that had Sega Saturns and shit, it was not so much. So, like, it's kind of, I don't even, what am I even trying to say here? There's a number of like down in flames failures usually when people try to do something new, and doing a cyberpunk open world game like this where you actually were able to ride all the little thingies and all the stuff that they thought you were going to be able to do when they started making this game, it was way beyond what anybody has actually tried to do and got working before in a game like this.
So moving forward, what do you think, personally, like realistically, from what you've seen with this game, with like not only the areas that we speculate have been cut or abandoned, like the casino and the areas that we're in just now, what do you think they're going to add moving forward with the next update for DLC? realistically? Do you think there'll be any areas included, or do you think it'll just be like a couple more missions that are available in the debug but they didn't include in the game? Do you think it's just going to be a couple more cosmetic things? Realistically, what do you think is going to be added?
Why don't you go first and give me a chance to think, so I don't just say a green card to go with the orange one they gave us?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's for me, it's just so strange. Like, the whole reason why I started making videos is because I've never seen a game like this, where you could just, oh, I'm gonna go explore this, and then you would walk into an area, and it'd be like blatant content that's being cut, or I want to see how easy it is to get to such and such location, and it was just so easy, you know. You saw all this messiness without being too harsh. I mean, it was so easy. So, and then we were expecting kind of substantial DLC, and we got an alternative look for Johnny Silverhand, a couple of jackets, and a car, like you were saying. It's like, realistically, I hope for the next gen, when they bring it out, it's going to solve all the level of detail issues. But for DLC, I'm hoping they're going to add the casino, they're going to add the storyline where it continues with V, no matter what story you chose. Like, I'm hoping they actually have consequences, because at the moment you just get put back to Embers, to meet Harunoku Arasaka. I'm hoping that there's a specific ending for the Nomads, there's a specific ending for if you do a suicide run, that kind of thing, and then you live with your consequences. But they, you know, they include a conclusion, and they include the areas that we've not gone to yet in that conclusion.
I'm not even going to say anything about Watch Dogs Legion, because I went off on a rant against it, saying how much I don't like it in the comments on a video recently. So, sorry to anyone that doesn't agree with, but I did not like Legion compared to Watch Dogs 2. And I played the first one a little bit and enjoyed it. Well, I played it a fair amount. I played it more than a little bit. And I managed to have fun.
Oh wow, that was impressive. A car just spawned right in front of me.
Oh yeah.
That was beautiful. I just really want there to be a conclusion to this game, so we know what happens to V. I want my decisions to matter, even though that all the decisions in the game so far don't really matter. I'm hoping that the life paths and the choices we've made with allegiances and stuff actually make a difference in that final mission going forward.
That would be cool. So I definitely think on doing the Crystal Palace or not, if they care at all about looking stupid, which, I mean, I don't know, if they're removing this stuff, you'd think they care about looking stupid. They almost have to do the Crystal Palace because, I mean, at this point, so I don't think this is a spoiler. Most people have watched the ending that involves the Crystal Palace. I'm not going to describe it in detail, but one of the endings just straight up shows you going to the Crystal Palace, and it's not like, you know, one of the endings with the other characters where you're like, maybe I'll live, maybe I'll die. Let's go off and start a new life together for 2 weeks. You know, it's not like that. It's very much like it is starting a new chapter, and something should happen immediately after this, or there's no point in this scene existing. And so, if they don't do Crystal Palace, it would be really weird, especially considering that we found that freaking to scale. There's 3 Crystal Palace models, I guess.
Yeah.
I think there's just 2, and one of them doesn't have the lighting effects on it. But yeah, we found that, like, totally to scale Crystal Palace. It was huge.
I totally lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, it was related to something you were saying, and I just completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, somebody besides V owns a motorcycle in 1.5. Yeah, so it's again, like, I don't know if this just makes me unobservant, but a lot of times I play games, I mean, I notice that, you know, eventually, but a lot of the stuff that people talk about, like, I've seen videos where people totally deconstruct Cyberpunk 2077 based on stuff that's, like, kind of hard to notice if you're paying attention to what you're doing. And yeah, it's like, I guess it takes me longer to notice some of that stuff because I managed to get a good 15 hours into the game before I noticed there were no other motorcycles besides me. I guess just because Jackie rode one, so that, like, kind of lodged in my mind is, no, other people have motorcycles. Jackie had one.
And somebody asked me, I didn't do a video on this, but somebody asked me if there was any animations for hijacking motorcycles. And I was like, well, I wouldn't know that because there's no motorcycles in the game. But there is a mod out there where they enhance police chase that the police actually use bikes. But they're not police bikes, they're just random yellow nomad bikes or whatever. And I tested it. I went to see if I could hijack a bike from a cop, and
No,
yeah, it just
not
didn't
at all.
happen. So I was quite disappointed. I was hoping to actually see something there, but no.
My pit bull Dalmatian really wants to climb in my lap right now. It's not a good time. She's
I
a
don't
very
think
big dog.
anyone would mind.
Oh yeah, no, it would be cute, but she'd probably break this IKEA chair I'm sitting in and like knock my microphone across the room and everything.
It's kind of it's kind of funny. I've not really noticed before, but clubs. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, but clubs in the city, they actually do get a bit busier at nighttime. Like people actually go in at nighttime and stuff, which I think is quite cool. Adds a bit of an immersion. But I'm never in clubs and stuff in the game. I think it's just kind of a wasted thing.
That's one reason I kind of want to keep playing on the PS4 actually. So I know that's a really weird thing to say. But I started a file and I was having a good time. Like I didn't find it unplayable at all. And it was kind of nice being limited again, actually, even though, I could play it on the Series X and it would run better. But I've gotten so used to playing with mods that it's like if the goal is go to a club where there's a lot of people, I'll just load one of the scenes with the debug menu where, like you're playing a show and then, like as Johnny, and then I'll just replace someone else as me up on the stage and go out and stand in the crowd in the show, and I can get screenshots with tons of people in there and stuff. So I've just gotten so used to doing that, and like using things like that instead of trying to do it normally in the game, that it was nice. It was like, oh yeah, this is what it's like playing this as a video game again.
Yeah, I think where I enjoy it more on the console than the PC is because the PC is so easy to use free fly, and because you're moving through buildings so quick, and you're kind of navigating around so quick, you can miss some things that you would have a larger chance of seeing if you're just walking around normally, because there's quite a lot of rooms and stuff that you forget about. You know they're there, but you forget about them because you never see them. So I'm just wondering.
Some of these people are just frozen in place, not animating.
Yeah. Oh, they're moving a little bit, they're just standing, but I just wonder how many other rooms and stuff haven't been discovered. And there was an Easter egg in GTA recently. There was literally an Easter egg outside the helipad, but I'm not sure if that was added in to the trilogy or if that was from years ago that was just discovered.
I think that was actually in the original. They. Uh-oh, now I lost my train of thought. Damn it. Oh, yeah, extra rooms. So one thing about it is, there's probably a few more things to find, but for a while it was like until 1.12. We were able to see everything. Like when you were under the map, it didn't call any of the other rooms or anything, so you could just clearly see a lot of this cut area. And that's why it was like, I kind of hate noshing on it. People work so hard and they'll come along now and they'll be like, did you guys find this room? It's like, yep, totally, sorry. And it's because I used to be able to fly under the map, at like 15 meters per second and look up into buildings and see if there were extra rooms that I didn't recognize, and then I'd fly in and take a look. Now it calls them all, and you can't make sense of what you're seeing when you're under the map most of the time. But it used to be really, really easy to find this stuff.
Yeah, and they added an extra layer, right? So it's like you can't, the stuff that was there.
I know I'm about to become the most hated person in cyberpunk fandom, but they did what I was saying they should do, because it's stupid to render geometry that you don't need that's not visible. So that could very well be my fault that they made it worse.
I don't think so. I mean, that's just, I don't understand why they would have done that, other than to hide boxes and stuff.
Well, it's not just ones that, could be cut stuff. It's anything that it's like line of sight based. So if you're in an area where something should be visible, it'll be there. But it's like if it shouldn't be visible, it just doesn't. It's Oh, sorry, I gotta stretch my back here.
I thought the dog had jumped on you.
No, no, no. I just got all like I've been sitting in the wrong place and my back started twitching like right in the middle, along my spine. I was gonna start twitching. It's the way the culling works now. They've made it more strict about what actually should be visible and not visible. And I'm not saying they definitely did that because I was like, "What's wrong with you?" But it was probably me and all the other people who were like, "What a wasteful way to run your game engine."
Oh, I nearly made it. I'm gonna try that again.
Which again, it is. I mean, it is the right way to. I mean, maybe not the way they do it because right now there's like lampposts disappearing that are supposed to be plainly visible on the edge of your screen because they seem to have like assumed everyone would use the default 80 FOV. I hope it's not that simple. I hope they're not. That. But anyway, for whatever reason, there's things that should be visible now that it's calling, and there's all kinds of stuff like that going on. So
Yeah.
but trying to make it so that you're not doing anything that's unnecessary. Like if it's faster to basically load it, if it can be loaded in faster through the memory, then then if it's worth it, then it should always be like that. There's no point in just having a bunch of extra crap taking up resources.
Yeah. It's weird. There's so many areas in the game you think there's gonna be. Like, there's a couple of rooms in motels and stuff which are locked behind level 20 strength, and there's just robots in there, like the robots playing cards and the robots that are lap dancing. It's quite funny. But I'm just wondering how many other small rooms are easily accessible in free roam, and then how many other rooms are potentially just not loaded because you haven't hit a certain criteria. Like the empty spaces we see in the desert. How many areas could there potentially be that just require you to do a certain, I don't know, action to unlock them?
Yeah, because I mean, it is like even as simple as if you go back to Yorinobu's penthouse when you're not in the
Oh,
mission, it doesn't even load the lighting effects. So it's not even like it doesn't, load in any of the actors or anything. Even stuff like the wall and the TV glowing, it doesn't load any of that stuff
yeah,
in. It's just like as stripped down as it possibly can be. So yeah, like when you're not in actual missions, a lot of stuff is just, completely omitted. So yeah, totally true. I think like going through the debug, as tedious it is probably the fastest way we would ever figure that out. Besides playing through the game over and over again in every possible situation and breaking out of bounds every 5 seconds to look around us.
yes, done it. I know it's been done before. Like Sventrans said that it's been done. We've looked through everything and stuff. But you could load a debug, and then you could use FreeCam and float around and see if there's anything extra that spawned. Because
Forest Spirit is really excited about something you did.
I think he's saying that good job of getting up here.
Oh, okay, okay, cool. I was just wondering if there was like some further secret that you were close to discovering. I was like,
I
don't
don't
jump
know.
off yet. Don't mess it up.
I really still want to know what that FF06B5 code's about, because I think you inadvertently kind of dispelled the whole notion that the magenta statue could be the answer, because it's really just Shadowrunner, right? Shadowrun.
Well, I don't know. It does look really, really similar to when you're in the VR dungeons in the Shadowrun game on Genesis, which is like, I mean, a lot of that stuff. Like if you've played all those games and you play Cyberpunk 2077, they clearly look like references.
Yeah.
So the visual design of that statue definitely looks like when you're in your cyber body in the Shadowrun game on the old Mega Drive.
I was kind of wondering. I was like, is that a hint? Do we need to like play the game stealth or something and try not to get detected with our missions that we do or something? I was like, nah, that's stupid, because then there's missions that you're already in combat and stuff. I can't run here. This must be an area they've like programmed that should have been interior, because I can't sprint.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's really annoying. So yeah, I'm just wondering what if there is whatever that FF06B5 mystery is.
Okay.
I
We
wonder
got
if it's
we got
Hex.
26 whole people watching right now that are going to get to see and hear me be positive for a very rare moment and be extremely optimistic. about Cyberpunk, and I'm going to put together an at least somewhat reality-based speculation about the best case scenario for this game. Everybody ready? Oh, somebody left. Somebody's not interested in that at all. So, best case scenario, I think the extra crews of people that they've brought on that are not specifically making the multiplayer or an expansion or something like that are people that they specifically headhunted because they're good at just taking used toilet paper code and turning it into something good. The kind of people you hire when you're whatchamacallit, Happy Games or whatever, the people that made No Man's Sky. Like those, they hired like an extra 12 people, and those weren't just like, oh, some artist, some programmer. They hired superstars, like people that, they're on their resume was like, I can take your pile of garbage and make it, hot, loose, and clean. And like I hope that that is what that team is doing, and that we will be blown away. Like I don't want to like, in the interviews they'll be like, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's going to be really good. We're not releasing it until it's really ready. So let's say they're not full of crap on that. And I know we've said that before. I know, but remember, this is my like little tiny happy moment. And they really are fixing the crap out of this, because it's like, if I'm a boob, I know very, very little. I don't even make real mods. I just do little changes in the game so that I can capture silly videos and stuff. Like, but if I can look at something and I know enough about games to be like, I've seen other games that do this better before, and I don't know what it is, but I mean, that's obviously the way you do it. This is obviously the way not. There's tons of people that could come in and they could make this thing like 3 times more efficient, better in every way. Like this stuff could all be fixed with, best practices that are known. And if that is happening at the same time, another team is making like a add-on expansion multiplayer kind of thing, like Comrades for Final Fantasy 15, or like Fortnite started as that to save the world. Fortnite Save the World mode was the original game, and the Fortnite we know today was an add-in versus multiplayer mode for a pre-existing game that nobody even remembers now. That if that is what Cyberpunk multiplayer it is, where it's not another $30 for Cyberpunk, it's a separate client that's not trying to be packaged. So every time it's updated, which if it's popular, like Fortnite became, this is a problem that Epic ran into. The multiplayer client needs to be updated every 12 seconds, and the single or the co-op component doesn't. So it's like, branching them is a really freaking good idea. If that's what's going on, and that's what the multiplayer team is, and it is going to be a free expansion that is, it's the same game engine, it's the same game, it's just being made by a different team, just Fortnite Battle Royale was at the beginning, where, hey, what's up, Tyler? Where if that's what Cyberpunk multiplayer ends up being, is basically how Fortnite Battle Royale grew out of Fortnite Save the World, no one should be complaining about that. I mean, I'm not trying to toot Fortnite's horn here, but I mean, that was an obviously very successful transition that it kind of sounds like on a level they could be doing that. If they are doing that, I think that would be, let me stop gesticulating in front of the camera. I'm sorry. Probably have my camera higher. But that would be very smart. That's what I would do. This is all kind of what I would do if I was the president of CD Projekt Red, which I would never ever apply for that job. And then finally, the next gen update to be like, what the next gen update should be is the thing that I already talked about, where they have the cleanup crew coming through and, making it all right, like competent people could. That should be happening, not, in lieu of or trading people back and forth, but packaged into this big 1.5 update, where at the same time it gets better in a lot of ways, where there's no one on PC that can complain that, their game is being nerfed so that it can run on a PS4. It just plain runs the way you expect. And then at the same time, it runs to the best of the abilities of the new gen consoles. And that is just a patch that you download like any other patch. That would, I think, be the best case scenario, where it's not, it's not the biggest story ever. It's just like, now we're going to start doing it the way we should. We're not going to make a big deal out of it. It's just 1.5 does this and it works. That would be like, again, this is my dream scenario that come on, CD Projekt Red. If you ever listen to anything we say. And then finally, going into expansion content that, they are being clear, where as much as back in my day, Horse Armor was called a DLC, and so was add-ons like Half-Life Episode 1 was a DLC, and so was Horse Armor for Oblivion. But, that they do actually mean that DLC is Johnny Silverhand looks like a fool, and you get an orange car, and that the expansion content is really like, I mean, honest to God, what you expect. It's not disappointing. It's reasonably priced. And it's made by, now here's where I'm going to say something that, you haven't heard. Made by a fresh team that's competent, but I honestly I want to see some fresh ideas, not because I hate the storyline and the design of the original game, but it would just, it's kind of like when you bring in they brought in a separate team to do Knights of the Old Republic 2 after, the main team moved on and I think they started working on Dragon Age or something at that point. But, or Fallout New Vegas. Sometimes bringing in people that are fresh when you have a system that kind of works, which hopefully they'll have after doing those first things, it like they can then it's like they have the the level designer, they have the the quest scripting tool, and they can just make a really kick-ass bundle of content that you're not complaining about the value of. I mean, if this expansion was like Fallout New Vegas to Fallout 3 but you didn't pay another $60 for it, that would be pretty redeeming I'm going to close on that. A long rant, but that would be pretty redeeming, and I think we would all have to step back and be like, well played, CDPR, like, well played. Okay, and textual.
This kind of looks like they were meant to you meant to sneak in the Maelstrom base by this air vent here and stuff.
Oh, I missed a question from Tyler. Oh, wait, let's all welcome Tyler McVicker. Also makes some pretty good videos about Cyberpunk 2077. How do heists factor into that? So,
in fact, I think we should be pressing Tyler on get his contacts to get CD Projekt Red to make the game they promised. Oh, that was salty.
Yeah. Oh no, don't put him on the spot like that. But they do actually they'll respond to him sometimes. So yes.
Get us a game we want, Tyler.
But no, so the thing about heist, heist is one of those things that it's like, I'm picturing Grand Theft Auto 5 and I'm already having bad feelings. Like, oh, that would be great if it was great, but it would be bad if it's like the first 6 months of heists in GTA 5 was like. So I'm kind of, if there is a thing that they just abandoned for now, I wouldn't mind if it's heist. So that could be an unpopular opinion. So.
Son of a bitch, that wasn't solid. What the hell is this? Oh, we can see something.
Alright, I gotta close the back door. Kill the ambient sound. Get her out, dogs.
I've never actually tried to squeeze my way back into this area, just wondering if it's possible. What's this? Functioning corp trucks. I did a video on that.
Oh, Forest Spirit. I just asked. This is a great question. See, this is why we have to do AMA, because people can help us. It is really hard to play the game and talk. At least for us. So, what was the first thing you found digging around that made you want to just go all in? I have a good answer for that, actually.
For this game, I think it was a casino, because I had kind of spotted the casino and was like, okay, that's really odd. It's completely cut off, and then I started finding more things, like the doors that lead to nowhere, and I just saw how glitchy some things were, and I was like, screw it, it's locked down. I want something to do. I've always thought about doing YouTube videos to see how far it can go, and let's see what I can find. And the more I looked, the more I found. And a lot of it's all speculation, but I think it's pretty cool.
So for me, I mean, this isn't, I don't know. I mean, maybe good answer, bad answer, but the first thing I did in this game was try to break out of bounds. Like, I didn't even look at the stuff that was pissing other people off. The first thing I did was, like, I was in the Nomad prologue, and I'm trying to break out of the boundaries. I'm just like, shut up, Sheriff, I'm out of here, goodbye. Like, we're getting out of here. And very, very early on, I drove out around the hills out of bounds and was, circling the edge of the map trying to avoid the teleport barriers. And I got out to where I was looking over the oil field, and I saw a sunset, and it just like I don't know, it captivated me. Like I fell in love with the game in that moment, even though I was breaking it out of bounds where I wasn't intended, seeing something in a way I wasn't supposed to see it. And I was just like, I don't know, I felt like I was camping, like getting up out of my tent and watching a beautiful sunset in the morning. And I was like, if I can feel like this when I'm out of bounds, just like screwing around, like I wonder what else there is. Like I'm gonna poke around more. And it was like I'm kind of weird like that. I get this like I'm always role playing. Like I'm role playing when I go to the grocery store. Like inside my mind, I'm on some sort of mission. And so like I just, started going on an excursion out of bounds and exploring right from that very moment. I was like, this is cool. I'm enjoying this. I'm not just gonna put this game down. I'm gonna keep exploring out of bounds. Kind of a weird answer.
Do you know, I don't think I've really ever
Yeah. Gosh,
not broken a
dogs
game,
again.
but
They're
I've
tearing the
never.
door down.
Oh God, I've never really looked
Yes,
into
what is
games
it
like this before. I've just played them and enjoyed them for what they are. I've never bothered digging into things, but now I've started doing it. I want to do it with every game. I want to do it with. I've been doing it with The Witcher, like retrospectively looking at things. I know people have found stuff in The Witcher before, but I've been looking at stuff in The Witcher. I've been using FreeCam for different games and stuff, and I don't know. I'm just waiting for a new game to come out, to to kind of break up the monotony of Cyberpunk. And I know a lot of people like Cyberpunk, or they like it because they want it to get better. But I kind of want to find something new. I don't want to go back to old games that I've played before, because I just don't have the enjoyment for that. Part of what is enjoyable about this is that I'm always discovering something new. I'm always exploring and finding stuff. And if someone's already found it, it's, that's totally fine. But I like finding things myself, even if I'm not the first to do it. I don't know if you feel the same
That's
way.
one thing. Well, no, I do. It's just I don't know. So like I've always been a really antisocial person, and I've always just kind of like, I do this. I'm a mad scientist in my shed by myself. And then I started YouTubing a few years ago, seriously, just besides just uploading like short gameplay clips and stuff. And I've been trying to get better at the whole like sharing it with the rest of the world. So I've been doing this kind of stuff since I got my game chart. Like I imported an action replay on the N64 to start tearing apart Zelda Ocarina of Time. And so I mean I've been doing this for years, but then I look at like, wow, I would be so much better at this if I actually participated in the community of people that are doing this. Like I discovered Lance McDonald's YouTube channel and I was just like, I am a worm. I am a worm. Like it would take me the rest of my life to learn everything he knows, or I could just like rip off and copy what these people do and figure it out, and, like, or talk to them if they're willing to talk to me. But I actually feel like I've missed so much by not, viewing what other people do, participating in the community, which is hard for me because I'm kind of an antisocial person sometimes. But like I'm definitely appreciating that of where I feel like I'm learning and I'm doing stuff way faster now at exploring games versus I used to do things in ways that I realize now are really obsolete and inefficient and stuff.
As this is the first time I've ever really explored a game to this level, and just because I really got heavily invested in this game. I'm sure like a lot of people did, and I guess I was so disappointed. I just wanted to make the best out of a bad situation, and I guess that's possibly one of the motivating factors. Although I don't know what is the motivating factor, but I just love exploring this game because there's just when you think there's nothing left to find, you'll find something. It might be small, it might be big, it might be something you can speculate on, or it might give you a hint as to what they maybe planned or what's coming next. And again, things can change, whether it be another hack, another leak. You just don't know what's going to happen in the real world that can affect these things. So, all I can do is remain hopeful and just look around. But I think we're coming to the limit of what really can be found, and I think the only thing I can do now is really do the debug stuff, because I want to do it for myself, and I might as well record the footage and show other people if they're interested. So that's the only other thing I can really do with the debug. But as far as exploring the game through console or PC, I think most of the things have probably been found. And the Shadowrunner, he does a lot of smaller videos that are based on like doors and exits or entrances to buildings that aren't typically seen or used. So he's looking around on one of the older versions and still using the car glitch to get glitch the walls and stuff.
Shadow Hunter.
Yeah,
I think, did you say Shadowrunner or Shadow Hunter? Because I
possibly.
just heard like Shadowrunner, and I'm
I
like,
possibly said Shadowrunner thinking about the statue
because
again, but
yeah,
I
that would
really
be a cool
enjoy
name.
those videos because there's a few areas that he's found and I didn't find, and I was like, God damn it.
So in Shadowrun, a runner is like a damn it, now I can't remember what they're called in this game. You know, people who do
Netrunner.
this work. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's a Shadowrunner is that in Shadowrun. Which is again, it's like it's funny because
What the hell? Why did a quick hack menu tutorials just come up for my level 50 playthrough?
oh, I gotta catch. Oh, whoa, there's a lot of comments I gotta catch up on. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm going all the way back here. Dean Ford says, I'm really hoping CD Projekt Red pull off a No Man's Sky. I'll be really disappointed if my sock ain't blown off next year. I had to read and make sure that wasn't something inappropriate because I'm like, saw. Okay, cool. I'm trying to be optimistic. I always try to be optimistic. Like that's one thing that like it's hard for me to kind of I think that sometimes my saltiness isn't enough to appease some people because I just can't stay mad at anyone. Like I can't stay mad at a corporation for that long. Like 'cause I can't stay mad that long about one thing. You know, like I get jaded and I'm just like, they're shitbags. Sorry for profanity. You know, like it's just I can't just, you know, be like hot mad about it for a year. So I want them to succeed. I want everyone to succeed. You know, like I was really okay. Now I'm gonna take way too long to answer this one comment, as I tend to do. I don't like anybody to fail. I don't like anybody to be irredeemable. Like I mean, that probably doesn't extend to you know people who abuse animals and stuff, but you know what I mean. Like it's hard to want anything to fail utterly forever, and it's hard not to want to hope.
I'm really confused as to why this quick hack tutorial came up.
Okay, Forest Bear. I also wonder if we get a trailer for 1.5 at the Game Awards. I think it would be a really good time. It would be a really good time because the problem is Elden Ring, and I mean I know a lot of people don't care about Souls likes, but it is a big game and it got pushed back to February of 2022. It's also doing a big marketing push at the Summer Game Fest. So, like, you really got to watch out for when people move into your window, your release window, and start hyping and investing in marketing and not let yourself get swept under as the product that nobody even notices because their big thing that they've been working on all this time to fix it, they could get swept under the rug by a couple other games that are now in that window as well.
I honestly just cannot wait for Starfield. Any news about Starfield, I'm pumped for. I'm hyped.
That's a longer wait, but I'm starting my hype train too.
Oh yeah.
I also love nooks and crannies. I live for nooks and crannies, Forest Spirit. I'm still exploring nooks and crannies in Zelda 64, which we got some new nooks and crannies just recently on that. But that's check my channel for that. Yeah, so it's interesting. There's a lot going on, and everything in Chapter 1, or in Act 1, sorry, has a lot of alternative. You can see it in some of the debug scenarios that you can load. There's a lot of stuff of apparently they changed their mind about how that stuff was going to go.
So one thing I think I remember what I was going to say last time about acts and stuff. It's interesting that you brought this up a long time ago, that part or the main stories in the debug menu are listed as part 1. Part 1 of the game. It's like
the entire game story is listed as part 1
in the debug,
indeed.
Which is like, okay, is that legit, or you know, really interesting.
The other thing that so this is sometimes internal names last a really long time. So way early when we're talking like storyboard, like Mike Pondsmith sitting there across the table from him time, they could have talked about how there's rumor that there was going to be a Johnny Silverhand section, then there was going to be a Morgan Blackhand section, then maybe a Wayland section, where a number of these big characters from Cyberpunk 2020, almost 2020, would each have their own chunk, but all we got was Johnny Silverhand. So that could have easily been a super, super early thing, though. And then once it was, Johnny Silverhand was Keanu Reeves, you're not going to hire Keanu Reeves to just be in one of your 3 chapters. And that became the whole game. I speculate on that there was never, 3 or 4 of what we saw that they started working on. That would be ridiculous. Oh, City Hunter had to take off. See you, City Hunter.
Yeah, if you're still here, bye. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on trying to break into our second.
I just caught up on the comments. It was a lot.
Oh, can I get in?
Said Raid Shadow Legends. I will never, ever, I don't care. Like, I know I'm a nobody right now, but I don't care how successful I ever get on YouTube. I will never plug Raid Shadow Legends or NordVPN. Like, just my blood boils hearing those words.
Raid Shadow Legends.
It pisses me off so much. Like,
do you know what upsets me is that I cannot choose the ads that get played on this channel. So whenever I click on ads, it's just like, my channel is probably advertising Raid Shadow Legends.
I'm not monetized, and they play ads anyway. I don't have any choice. It used to be if my channel isn't monetized, people didn't have to watch ads on my channel, which would be my preference. But
come on, I know I can get in here. I just need a little.
Let's not even start getting angry about YouTube though. Like I can still get angry at YouTube. Jamie Foxx's Morgan Blackhand. That would be awesome. So I wonder how Mike Pondsmith would feel. Because here's a weird thing.
Is Morgan Blackhand
this is not weird. So this is not. Sorry. So hold on. I want to go back. I almost said this totally wrong in a way that would make me sound like a freaking closet racist. So I don't think it's weird at all that Mike Pondsmith is a white dude when he plays this game. When I was a kid, Shaq was my favorite basketball player, and my parents had to explain to me why I couldn't dress up as Shaq for Halloween. And, and I get all that now, but it's like, since he's the one, I wonder what he would think if they made the character black. Like that. I wonder how he would respond to that. Like,
I don't know. I mean, a lot of movies and stuff are making characters, women who are male and male who are women and different skin colors and stuff. So.
Yeah, but I mean, and the thing is I don't think it's like, there's a lot of people that'll, I'm not even going to get into journalism and weird articles that people write for rage bait. Sorry, let me just skip that entirely. But I think it's because, honestly, I think he's probably one of the best DMs ever. I mean, obviously, because he created a role-playing game, which, by the way, I'm just, as someone who has bought a lot of role-playing games and run a lot of role-playing games, Cyberpunk is not nearly as successful as you would think it is versus Shadowrun, for how big the game is now and how much notoriety they have and all this stuff that's happened. It wasn't a hugely successful tabletop role-playing game in the way that Dungeons and Dragons, Shadowrun, White Wolf, a number of things like that are. That being said, I think he, like Mike Pondsmith, would probably be one of the best living DMs you could ever be in a game with, and like as a DM, I would worship upon his feet. And I don't think that he plays as a white dude because he cares about any of that stuff. I think that he views it the way I do, where it's like, I just hit random, like the random button in a lot of games. And when I see a character that inspires me, like a story starts to appear for that character in my head, I start customizing, and that's who I play as. So it was totally random that my character looks a little bit like me in Cyberpunk 2077. Like I'm an old black dude with a mustache in Red Dead Redemption 2. Like I'm a woman in some games. It's like, so I hope that he views it like that, because I feel like that's role-playing. In role-playing, you don't imagine you're this idealized version of yourself that has sex with everyone and kicks everyone's ass. Sometimes you're a dumbass. Sometimes you're the, because I've been a DM. I've had wherever.
Speak for yourself, okay? You don't think
that. Okay. But as the dungeon master, it sucks having 5 people in your party that all want to be the hero of a freaking Vin Diesel movie. Everyone wants to be Vin Diesel. And it's like, okay, cool, so it's like whenever I play, I'm like, okay, I'm Shrek. Like I'm a giant ogre that sings, and I'm the comedy relief. I'm like Jack Black. Or like I'm the cowardly dude that, carries your stuff. I'm like your cowardly butler, or like something like that. Cause I'm like, that's role playing. And I anyway, long rant me. I think we oh, good. Everybody didn't leave. But, I think that's why Mike Pondsmith probably wouldn't care, but I am curious what he would think if they made Morgan black and a black guy. That was a lot of letter L's for me not to stutter. Sorry there.
I'm interested to see what they do with those characters. You know, the ones that are survived in the certain missions and stuff. I wonder if they'll bring them back, or diverge and do like side missions and stuff, or like flashbacks to kind of fill out the nuance in the story of the
I would
game.
play a whole DLC as any of the 2020 characters. I think that'd be really cool. Raycons. Yeah, same with Raycons. Raycons go in that category too. The thing is like I don't need free earbuds. You know? Like I've heard that Raycons is not even they don't even pay you like a thing of like ad revenue or anything like that. They just send you a pair of their free Raycons. It's like it's cool, dude. I've got some cheap earbuds. They're okay. Like I'm not gonna plug you for a pair of your freaking earbuds. Yeah, I gotta admit, like Jackie, this is the thing I rarely talk about. You know, like I try not to bash Johnny too much because I'm not a in camp Johnny, but they killed one of my favorite characters after Act 1. That's all I'm gonna say. At first, I was just like, "Who's this gonk?"
Way too soon.
And then I started getting attached to him, and by the end of it, I was just like, oh, there better be somebody else. Oh, nope, Keanu Reeves is who I get to talk to for the rest of the game. All right, that's how it's going to be, I guess.
I mean, for anyone who saw the trailers, like it wasn't quite live action, but it looked more real than what we got. We knew Jackie was going to die, right? It was
right.
In the trailers.
I mean, well, I didn't. That's the thing. I didn't follow any of the hype. That's what the weird thing is about this. Is like, you're in the camp of someone who like was excited for this and followed it all, and I'm like so jaded that the more hyped something is, the more I hide under a rock and try not to even pay attention to it. And then I picked it up expecting it was this nightmare machine, a couple days after launch, and ended up falling in love with the game. So we almost have weird we're like yin and yang on this.
Yeah. In some ways, I'm kind of envious. Oh God, I can't believe I missed that. I'm kind of envious because I definitely would have liked to have not known about the game, so I didn't spend as much money on it as I did with the merch and stuff. But hey, you live and learn. Well, maybe not really. I mean, I'm already hyped for Starfield, but yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Oh, well, so while we're talking about characters and plot and stuff, one thing one of my big complaints with this game is I feel strongly that you either do silent protagonists like Legend of Zelda, where Link is just, I mean, it's obvious that Link is just you, the cameraman, going around and having an adventure. And, I mean, Link has a little bit of personality sometimes, but it is expected that he doesn't talk and you watch other people talk. Whereas, if you're even going to call it a role-playing game, the most important conversation and decisions need to be made by the player. That's the way it has to be. Even Mass Effect, it's like 8/10 an action game, is considered a role-playing game because what Shepard says and does is the most important thing. Shepard is not standing back and someone else on the screen is the main character. And so like the fact that you still talk and have a personality and supposedly make decisions and stuff, but Keanu Reeves is obviously the main character from the second he steps on. It's just like, whoa, what are you doing? Are you reinventing the wheel? Like this is like it is known that this isn't how you do stories. Like, it's not, this just isn't going to work. You're going to make the people mad like me that want to create their own narrative and want to be free, but then also the people, anyone who doesn't like that character and his story is going to be like, that was crap compared to other games where you walk around with a character that just, talks like Enslaved, Journey to the West, or something like that, where you're with this other character that doesn't also talk. What's my brain now? The Last of Us. The Last of Us, the original. I wasn't a huge fan of the second one, but the original. I know. I mean, I get tongue-tied a little bit. It did that a really good job in the first one, especially where you're just walking around and someone else is doing most of the talking, but it still feels like you have some measure of control over the story.
Yeah, I mean, true role-playing games, your character's not meant to speak, right? So I mean. But I quite enjoyed Mass Effect because of that. Like, you got to. I mean, you did.
I don't think that's true at all.
No.
You should know. I mean, I come from a tabletop role-playing game background, and the players always talk. So it's like I totally come from like, no, like Baldur's Gate, where you know your character talks and you make decisions and stuff. That is a role playing game.
But I mean,
Sorry,
like
I
in the way
felt
of
strongly.
video games, or like I thought RPGs are traditional RPGs for video games was meant to be that the text was there, but you didn't hear your character's voice because that took
Oh
away the
yeah.
immersion of you being that character, you know?
Well, and I think that's kind of another form of silent protagonist, and it's just it is really weird the way it does it in this game, where almost in any scene, you're not really the main character. Johnny's the main character. Takamura's the main character. Um, and I don't just mean as in that they're doing all the talking, even more in that like they're the ones making decisions, or it affects their life, or it's basically their story, where it's like, you know, why is V doing this again? Oh, because it supposedly is going to lead to some way you're going to be able to get the chip out of your head. That's why I'm doing this. And that thread is used to carry you so far out into stuff that's not really about you. And as a first person role playing game, it's like, no, that's not the way I would do it. I'll just leave it at that.
I I like RPG elements, but I like the story unfolding in front of me. I like Mass Effect and like Saints Row 2, and I was really looking forward to those third-person cutscenes, even though it was going to be an RPG or elements of RPG open world exploration. I was really looking forward to those cutscenes to make it. I don't know, that just adds more for me because that's just the way I like seeing games. Like, you know, GTA was always third-person cutscenes, and you know most games back in the day were third-person cutscenes, and that's what I really like seeing, and that's what I was hoping for Cyberpunk to, especially when we saw them in E3. I got me pumped, but what can you do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the decision to make it all first person, besides strangely giving you third person vehicle cams. You know, like they made the decision to go all first person all over, which would be cool for immersion if it was universal. Like if it was like Dead Island, where it's like you have to awkwardly drive in first person with a not very great first person driving system.
Yeah.
But it's top to bottom. Like you always feel like you're in the game, which I really enjoyed that about Dead Island. Is even though it was like they made it way less serious than it looked from early trailers. I'm just seeing your balanced cars. I still felt immersed a lot when playing Dead Island 2 or Dead Island 1. The Dead Island 2 is a secret game we don't talk about. But you know, there was times when I was crawling around through the bushes avoiding zombies and stuff where it was like I felt really immersed in it, and it never leaving the first person perspective, I feel was a part of that. And so I guess I'm kind of for it, but then they don't really do it in Cyberpunk because, you know, vehicles have third person camera.
Yeah. I mean, the interiors of the vehicles are stunning, right? I mean, they are some of the best interiors I've ever seen for vehicles in a video game. Somebody worked really hard.
Yeah, agreed. I that's one of the most impressive. There's so much beautiful things in this game. Like, this is another reason that it's like I have a lot of negative things about this to say about this game, but I haven't stopped playing it and I haven't stopped admiring parts of it. Because if there's something that is just outright beauty, that like by my standards of how a game is made, how game textures, how art is made, you know, I mean, it's like a Van Gogh by my standards. I don't care how much other stuff is broken in the game. I'm gonna forever have like, you know, some love and appreciation of that game. That's why I play a lot of these, you know, kind of funky, weird games, because there's something like that that I'm just so taken with. And I admire just that one person that worked on the game, you know, did something so incredible. The whole game itself is, it, you know, cannot be irredeemable. There's always still going to be that bright spot. And there's a bunch of those in this game. You know, there's so many details that are so well done that I have to be like, wow, that is really well done. They don't outnumber the ones that are not, unfortunately, at least especially when the game launched. But
Yeah. I did like, I don't know if you saw it, but I shared a video on the Discord where the dude was talking about how well this they explain things in subtext in this game. It's a really good video, and there's no over
is that this
explanation.
one by Story Mode, by the channel Story Mode,
Yes.
where they're interviewing? Yeah, I totally watched that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was quite good. And there is they create this. You know, they always they
See you
want
later, Forest Spirit.
See you later. Uh, yeah, hope you join us next time. It's gonna be nice having you. There's not too much spoon feeding in this game. You know, it's all done visually, and that's what I like about this game. But I think, and this is a common theme when it comes to CD Projekt Red and their games, is that for me there's just too much text documents. Like, you know, not the hidden gems. Yeah, the hidden gems. There's too much text involved. Like you're reading shards and stuff, and yeah, it tells you about the world, and it's got like encounters that are related to pop culture and stuff. But it's too much of that, I think, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion.
Another thing that it's hard for me to say they should telegraph this more. I don't even know exactly what the solution is, but like for example, a lot of people didn't even realize it was possible to save Takamura. And so, you know, it's like they would miss one of the major choices that you can make. And so it's like if you don't just and it's not even like being observant versus being, you know, a jackass and not paying attention. It's like if you didn't just happen to turn around in this one moment after there never being worth it to turn around and look for a secret passageway throughout most of the game, you know, you got to turn at this one part and go back and do this one thing, and you can save this major character, and it totally changes the ending of the game. It opens up two different endings. You know, but it's like there's almost nothing to tell you that besides you just thinking, I'm gonna check a little more.
I missed it the
And
first
there's
time.
a lot of the best stuff like that is like that. So it's like people go through the whole game thinking there's no choices you can make because you don't even notice half of them.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta be shitting me.
We'll see it in a second. Oh.
Oh, god damn it.
Maybe it quick saved.
Oh,
hey.
I should be so lucky.
Thanks, John Roberts.
Oh, it's good. It's a morning Australia. I can't understand time differences. Like, it's, you know, even for me and you, and I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work, and it's like 9 p.m. where you are.
I've got it kind of memorized. It's just forward 7.
I literally go to bed before you, and I wake up and you haven't gone to bed yet sometimes. It's very strange.
It's an extremely it's kind of an inconvenient one as they go, actually, for us to do collaborations on videos. It's kind of a bad time difference.
Yeah, it's doable though.
Oh, totally. It's just like basically, you know, like if you're going to set me on a project, like if we're working on something and you're going to get me critical information, you either have to bust it out first thing in the morning before you go to work, or like right when you get back before, you know, I'm in the middle of my day. It's hard to communicate things while the other person has time to act on them before the next day.
Yeah. I mean, like the video I brought out about the physical map and stuff. I was up till 5 a.m. in the morning making that video, and I'd been up for, I think by the time I'd finished it, I'd been up for like 20 something hours. It was exhausting.
We both skipped some sleep on that in that period. Like I was definitely burning at both ends as well.
It was not.
You know
Oh god, I forgot how bad the what is going on here.
I get it's the culling.
I thought they'd fix this. I knew this was happening.
No, that's what I'm talking about, because it thinks you can't see that for some reason.
Oh god.
Now I'm curious about this. So here, pause the game real quick if you would. Go to the menu and try turning it out. See what your FOV is at, and see if you can turn it down. Like if it's at wider than default. Like I'm really curious if they just. I guess I should have tested this myself.
Where's the field of view? It's in video.
Yeah, I think they'd let you change it on the console version. They're better.
Nope, there's performance and quality. There's no field of view.
What a bucket of garbage.
Yeah, look. Nope, gameplay.
That would be the funniest stupid way to just, if they're like, you know, they just left it on the default setting of like 80 FOV, and that was why, because, you know, PC gamers are always playing at like 270 FOV, so that it's like being a jellyfish.
Nope. Unless I'm blind.
No worries. I was just curious if that would be funny if it was that simple. If you just turned down your FOV to like 80 or 75, it doesn't do it. Like, yay! That's right in the middle of the screen though, so it's obviously. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely trying to calculate from your viewpoint because that was off the edge in front of you. That
Yeah.
wasn't the very edge of the screen. It was the edge of a building in front of you that it thought was obscuring it. They're getting there though. I mean, it's not easy to do that. It is not that easy to get a system like that perfect. It has been done before, and there are best practices to do it. But it's a neat trick to save some efficiency to basically know what the player for the game engine to know what the player is seeing exactly and be able to optimize itself on the fly for that. Like it's not baking Pop Tarts.
No. Oh, there's just so much in this game that I was hoping was going to be out already. Like, I was hoping I could have made videos and like, hey, like we are right or we are wrong, or look at what this area was and look what it is now, that kind of thing. I was hoping that was going to be here now and we could be doing that, but we still have to wait until the quarter of next year to get anything, which is really
Yeah, it'd be. I mean,
upsetting.
it's like when we've tried to do content on other stuff, there hasn't been a ton of response. So it's like I don't know what else people would want to see for us to work on while we're waiting for there to be stuff to mess with.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to change up too much, but I want to. There's a few games I want to look at and show or play and see what I can do with them. Like the Outer Worlds, I really enjoy the Outer Worlds, but again, there's not really much there. There's stuff being done before, and I don't want to copy the videos. I don't want to just churn videos out that are kind of similar to what I do with a different game that's been done before, just to bulk out the channel. I just want to focus on newer things. If we have to wait, we have to wait, I guess.
Well, and I'm not willing to do what some channels do, where it's like when they don't have content, they just make up some clickbait video. They just like repeat something they've already said before and change it slightly, or like, something like that. Like I would not want to do that just to keep Cyberpunk content going until they have an update. I'd rather come up with something that people would want to watch that's not just that.
Yeah. And I don't really just
'Cause
want to scour news articles about Cyberpunk and be like, oh, they're going to do this or they're going to do that. Like, I would cover mods and stuff, but there's a lot of mods that aren't 100% yet, or, they're cool, but they don't quite work as well as they should. And there's no point in
if I
covering
get it,
things I don't like. I just
if
don't.
I get a response, sorry.
If you get a response from the multiplayer.
From the modder Carbine Heroes, I want to do a holiday mods of the month because I need to get enough stuff that is interesting to me to make a video like that. But Carbine Heroes just released a Christmas decorations mod for AMM today, and also has a Santa hat mod that doesn't seem to work anymore. But before I start messing with myself and just I want to try and get in contact with them and see if they just want to update it. Because yeah, it would be cool to do a holiday mods of the month.
Let's get chased by the cops in Rebel Rebel. Yeah, I would.
But yeah, it is kind of like
What were you gonna say?
nothing. You go.
I was gonna say I just wonder what this game would look like using the like the different texture packs and the ray tracing and things like that. I just wonder how different it does look. 'Cause some people say, "Oh, it looks amazing" and stuff. And I don't know. How different can it really look in the state of it? As the foundations, as broken as they are, how well can it really look?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would really like to be able to run it at max settings at least. I mean, it's kind of like, how do I put this? I mean, like, I'm definitely not a wealthy person, and I can't justify spending a bunch of money on a good gaming rig. But it's almost like it's like one of those movies, like one of those sports movies where you show up and all the other teams have like, all the proper equipment and stuff, and they all know what they're doing and have like, these super nice computers with RTX 3090s and all this stuff. And like we're trying to play in this game, make videos competing with theirs with like bubblegum and popsicle sticks, so it'd be nice. It might be nice to at least be able to record videos running the game at max settings, even without RTX.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
I mean, I'd take somebody's old 1080 Ti right now.
Yeah.
For less than $950.
I keep saying I'm buying a new rig and stuff next year. But oh my god, the braking in this car is non-existent. Like, it's gonna cost a lot of money, but ultimately, if I'm still gonna be making YouTube videos for this game and other games, I think it would be worth it, and eventually I'd be able to, you know, justify it. So, but I don't know what other people want. Like, there's people that are still watching the videos, they still enjoy the videos. Videos that I post that are like just updates, random updates, or things I don't think people are gonna find popular, they do. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some suggestions, maybe videos that people want to see. I don't know. If there's any suggestions, you can just fire them on and we'll see what we can do, I guess. Or even other games. I know people have suggested like Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs is an old game, it's been done before. Even though I love the game, it's been done before. There's not a great deal to see. The Witcher 3, I was contemplating putting a video up for The Witcher 3. Again, it's been done before, but you know, so there's ideas I have, but whether or not they're worth doing is the question. You know, so a lot of them could just be a lot of effort in making them, and then they just get, you know, a couple hundred views and stuff, like the Skyrim ones. No one was interested in the Skyrim mod videos and stuff, so
I was so surprised by that, because Skyrim's like the most popular PC game ever since freaking, you know, who knows what. Like, it's just like Skyrim is Skyrim. You think you post anything about Skyrim and people would want to watch it.
Yeah, especially for console, because there's an awful lot of people out there that prefer playing on console, and they don't want to pay crazy money for a PC just for better graphics and to install mods, you know. So I was surprised. I thought a lot of people on console would be interested, but again, it's something that probably has been done before. It's been 10 years since the first release, so realistically there isn't going to be a lot that people don't already know.
No, that's true, and that makes sense. And I mean, that's one reason that I try. I don't know. I mean, like I streamed Zelda 64 start to finish on original hardware recently, and I just kind of did it to do it, because it's like, I feel like you've got to, if you want to be a YouTuber, like, you got to stream. And I mean, I'm not saying you have to do this. I know you don't care about Zelda games, but like, if you're a streamer who likes Zelda games, you have to stream Zelda Ocarina of Time at some point, start to finish, on the internet to call yourself serious. And you also, at some point, if you've ever enjoyed a Sonic the Hedgehog game, which also this is me, I have to review Sonic 06, because I can't be a real YouTuber until I review one of the worst games ever. So, but I try not to do stuff like that in general, because I'm like, yeah, what else do I have to say about this, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, ideally what I wanted to do for the channel initially was not Cyberpunk. You know, I wanted to do more, I don't know, journalistic type videos where I would compare games to each other, or like what mechanics were good in these certain games and things like that. And I suppose I could still do that, because, you know, I'm the only limitation is myself. I'm limiting myself to what genres I like and what could be easy to do in the short space of time, you know, with the time I have outside of work. And there's so many things I could do, but finding the motivation to do that journalistic side, or do things like Outside Xbox do or Game Ranks do, is, you know, the market's already full. You know, people have already done it.
You know, a lot of those folks that do those kind of stuff, they either must have just, you know, really had good timing. Like, people talk about the good old days of YouTube where I wasn't even really paying attention. I was just uploading crappy clips from my phone in that time. So apparently, you know, if you had even halfway decent content in the good old days, you'd have 1 million subscribers now on YouTube. Or maybe that's BS that people talk. But they must have seriously just got rich immediately doing YouTube videos, because there's no way, like, I just couldn't. I mean, unless I just like said to my wife, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just run up all the credit cards and buy all this stuff, you know, and have a good microphone, good camera. I'm gonna take the time to do this out of my job. You know, I'm not gonna be spending this time making money or fixing the house or doing any of that stuff that I should do as an adult. And you don't have any kids, you know, and it's just, there's no possible way that anybody could do it. So it's like, we have to have either missed the boat, because there's no way that other people are like 10 times more motivated, intelligent, and talented than I am. Maybe, you know, maybe twice, but not 10 times.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some videos I want to do like that, and there's some like, it just takes too much effort. A lot of these guys have writers and stuff, right? They've got writers and they've got people that research for them, and then it's just the 1 or 2 front people that actually get on camera and talk about it.
Well, and it could be that, I mean, I don't know, maybe all YouTubers are born rich, but unless those are all their friends, you got to pay people to do that stuff. They have employees and it's a business.
Yeah. Okay, what have I found here? There's a door that doesn't seem to want to open,
Oh, does it,
but there's an
there's an
icon
event
here.
up here. No, you're by the dam, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're at the base of the dam. What is it? Somebody drives out of there or something? I know I've been here. I have like a vague memory of this happening. There's like a something you do up here, like a gig or something, and like
Well, it looks like
you're
there's
right up
not.
at the corner. This is where there's an infinitely respawning old police car over here. I used to like to steal it before I just, modded my car into a police car.
Oh yeah, it's up in the corner here. But I don't remember what save file am I on? Oh, I'm on my level 38 save file, so I'm on my kind of my male V playthrough. But I don't remember
Oh, we
seeing
got
this
another.
building.
No release date as far as I know for the new update. In fact, it only says Q1 2022. That's
Yeah,
not even, that's like a window.
I reckon it's gonna be. What do you think it's gonna be like? Early quarter 1 or late quarter 1? What do you think?
I mean, do you like want to hear what I want to happen, or because I have zero evidence,
Re
I have no way to speculate on that. I would really like
realistically,
it if it was. Okay, so again, if they had any sense, and if I was running CD Projekt Red, I would make absolutely certain to get that crap out before Elden Ring, even if the two aren't directly competing games, and I don't know what else is in that February window, but like, do not release saving the No Man's Sky update, at the worst possible time and get swept under the rug by other games that are releasing for the first time and haven't, still have a good reputation and all that have moved into that window. So like if they don't get it out before the other number of games that are now in that period, that would be really stupid. I'll still make videos
yeah.
about it, but that would be really stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Elden Ring is something I'm looking forward to, even though I don't particularly like the Dark Souls games. It's still a game that interests me. However, there have been a lot of negative comments about it, particularly with the network test and what people played. I didn't read too much into it,
They
but
could be that could all be people just trolling because they're butthurt they didn't get in. I know I was. I'm still like I'm still quite angry that I didn't get into the first round.
yeah. I mean, there's quite a few people that did play it, and that they were saying they weren't happy with it. So I say I'll need to watch a few more videos to actually know what I'm talking about. But I did surprise me. I was like, oh, I thought people were gonna love this game. It looked very Dark Souls. It looked like it was true to its, roots, and I think a lot of people just weren't sure about the open world aspect of it.
There's a little rumor that there's going to be an announcement at Summer Game Fest of an open network test this weekend. And if there is, I will be glad to give my own report because I've been playing From Software games since the 90s. So I love them since they were much worse than Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to apply for that again, wouldn't you?
No, it's open. Like the rumor says that it will be an open
Oh,
test.
oh,
Everyone
okay.
would be able to download it and this weekend, but that's just a
Oh,
rumor at this point. So one thing I want to do, that this is something I want to do, is like I feel is a worthwhile thing to put up on the internet as content, is I want to do an I am the asshole playthrough of Dark Souls, because there's this whole like stupid elitist thing around Dark Souls where people think that you have to be good to play Souls games, and B, that like there's a correct way to play them. So I want to play all the way through. I don't care which one, name any one of them and I'll do it. And I'm going to play like the biggest freaking idiot in the world and I'm still going to beat the game. Like I'm just gonna refuse to do anything the speedrun optimized correct way. And anytime someone's like, "Don't play like that," I'm gonna use my bazillions of hours of experience playing the game, finding a way to then like beat everything that's doing the thing they're telling me not to do. And I'm just gonna just like totally like once and for all be like, "No, you're not like that is an utter BS narrative about this game." It's like, you gotta retrain your brain a little bit, but the frigging Get Good gamers taking over my beloved From Software I'm mad about it.
one of my friends is super into um, Dark Souls, and he's played all the Dark Souls games. He's into his like anime and his Japanese style games and stuff. So I'd be interested to see what he has to say about it. with it being all open world and stuff. So
I would be really, John Roberts, I would be really excited if CDPR did give us something. Because, I mean, if they don't do something on the 1 year anniversary, I don't know. I mean, then that would be a stupid thing to do. Like, why would you not do that for the faithful people?
do you think they're just being super quiet about it? I mean, what was a couple of days now, right? What, today's 8th? No,
Hey, I mean, we don't have to wait long to find out. But I feel like it's like, you know, there's some of us out here, and I mean, I'm not saying like, again, if I was running CD Projekt Red, one of the first things that I would do is I would go out and like on the anniversary, I would make it all about thanking the people who have tried to be fair and reasonable about this game. So it's like, I would, you know, like I would make a Juicehead t-shirt within the game. Tyler, Tyler has, did you know Tyler has a t-shirt mod? There's a Tyler McVicker t-shirt mod. But I would have to give up my precious Good Old Games Galaxy t-shirt. No, that was sarcasm. But, you know, like do a tribute to all of the people who have not, you know, done the rubber band back and forth of trying to follow what'll get them hits about this game, but who have genuinely stuck to their guns and tried to be fair and reasonable. I mean, maybe extend down so far as us, give us a t-shirt in the game. That'd be awesome. But, you know, just, you know, make it about the fans, make it about the people who've given you fair coverage, you know, make it about like saying, hey, we heard you. We're not just doing this because our hat's on fire and we're trying to get out from under the criticism of all the people who flamed us. For all those people who still managed to have fun with our game, like, thanks. We really tried hard. Even if we effed up a whole bunch of stuff, like we worked really hard on this thing and we're glad you guys had fun and we'd like to appreciate you. Like that would be my absolute #1 priority on the 1 year anniversary. And I really hope they have the foresight to understand that.
I mean, they had a lot of job listings recently for Cyberpunk and things like that. So you know, they're doing something. Whether it's for the future stuff or whether it's, you know, trying to cram it in, I don't know, but I'm not so sure. I don't think there will be anything for the 1 year anniversary. I mean, they said there won't be, and I really do think all their efforts are focused on the patches, the next gen. So I hate to be pessimistic, but realistically, I don't think there will be anything.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't have to be in game for me. Oh, thanks, John. It like it could even be an announcement. It just, there's so much lack of tact is what just it's what burns my ass, because it's like I should stop like making so many like butt related things, you know? Like, dude, that's gonna be hate speech. I gotta watch myself, you know. Like I grew up in a foul time when we just said all kinds of terrible things that are offensive now. But you know, now I lost my train of thought thinking about butts. But you know, the lack of tact, where it's like I used to be a like booth dude for Samsung. I don't care. I used to, way back in my youth, I was, you know, one of the people at like the Samsung booth, you know, like I worked within the like the mall and like a Best Buy store and stuff. And like I could handle someone that came in, that like someone walking to me and like face to face be like, Apple's out selling you 3 to 1. What can you tell me about why I should buy a Samsung phone? I'd be like, no problem, dude. You know, like Apple is the solution. If you just want your phone to just do it and you just want to pay money, have a phone, and you want to have it work, Apple's a great phone for you. And I recommend it to my own grandma. But if you want to have control of your phone and you want to decide everything, and like you want to have access to your Wi-Fi meter and be able to see the actual strength and decibels of signals in your area, and you want it to really be your phone, Android's the only way to go, and Samsung's the best Android phone. How long was that? 55 seconds? You know, like and CDPR can't do that. CDPR, the person that did, you know, that is the equivalent of my job that I used to do for Samsung at the lowest level, for CD Projekt Red, one of the biggest game developers in the world, and they don't have people that can do that effortlessly. And I'm just like, what? Where are they? Why aren't you hiring those people? They got to be there, because dude, I don't ever want that to be my job again. But like, you know, it's not that freaking hard.
Just on your comment about bot-related jokes. Oh my god, this guy had a really bad day.
Oh no. Yeah. There's a lot of. I mean, the weird thing is like, I almost thought CD Projekt Red were Germans sometimes playing this game, because like Germans have a lot of butt jokes in their media.
Be careful. Be careful.
And everyone has like katanas in their butts, like butts shoved in basketball hoops. Like, there's a lot of violence and butts
Oh,
humor in this
I made a
game, you know.
horrible mistake bringing you on the stream today.
I'm just calling like I say. Okay, I'll just take this voicemail later.
Oh.
We very
Hey,
rarely
hey.
stream, Steven.
Yeah, been talking about doing it for a while, but
I stream more on my channel than we do here, and I rarely stream.
like I would happily play this game normally, like play through the missions and stuff on streams, but it would be very hard for me to concentrate on like the chat and talking, and I, I I'm not sure if people would even want to see the game being played that way. I know a lot of people do on Twitch and stuff, but
You know what I've thought of doing is just taking highlight clips of me playing a game and then just playing it as a video while I do a chat, so I don't have to try and think. Because like for me, it's like I can sit there and there's some games that I can play. Like I could probably play a sports game or something, no problem, and talk to people. But like if I have to actually do certain activities, it's like the same part of my brain is coming up with what to say, and I just like I cannot do both effectively at once.
yeah, no, I'm very much the same. I think just on a random train of thought, um, I think initially we were probably meant to have little hideouts like in Watch Dogs, like this little dingy den was probably meant to be an apartment we could buy, like as our first in this motel type structure, and then like as we move on to different sectors in the game, we'd buy different apartments and stuff for like our save location or our safe house and stuff.
Oh, that's so weird. Dean Ford says that you look like someone who was named Ryan that he knew in school.
Me or you?
No, you. Like he says when tripping him out because you looks like someone he used to know whose name was
Oh,
Ryan.
right, okay.
You know who I think? I think you look like Scottish actor Madden, the guy who's in Game of Thrones. That's in the new Marvel Eternals movie. You totally look like that guy. Is that your cousin?
I don't know who you're talking about.
You totally the guy that plays Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. You totally look like him.
Rob Stark? What? No.
Yeah,
No,
you
no,
do.
no, 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 no,
All you Scottish people have the same like chiseled like cheekbones and
no,
jaws.
no,
I
no,
can't
no,
tell
no,
you
no,
apart.
no, no. I've a few people have said I look
Like if
like.
Ewan McGregor, like if like you walked out of the room and Ewan McGregor came in here and started talking to me, I'd just be like, "Oh hey Mike, what's going on?"
Well, I was gonna say I have been. Someone did say I look like Ewan McGregor a couple of times, and I've been compared to
It's
Gareth Bale, the
'cause-
footballer, a couple of times, but no, it's just no.
So this is one thing. Like I'm really trying. This is another one of those. If it's like if someone comes at me and just like they spill pure hate, at Cyberpunk, to me about like something where I don't feel like I can't identify in that way. Like I try to identify with people, like rather than just being like, you're wrong, you're an idiot. Like when enough people say that, I'm like, okay, there's something here, and that's why I picked up the PS4 game. Like that's why I went out and bought the PS4 version on Black Friday, because I really wanted to see. It's like I
Don't
can't just
lie.
like say
You
you're
just
an
picked up
idiot,
the
screw you.
PS4
Like
version because it was the only beta version you could pick up. Don't lie.
that's true. I did it for that reason too. But like I really want to understand this more, and I'm trying to like get into the head of people doing that because it's like honestly I want to make content for them too. Like I'd rather than piss them off, I'd rather make something that makes them happy too, if that's possible in any way. Because it's not just a few assholes with this game. Like this game personally rubbed a lot of people the wrong way on a level that I've like. I don't know. I mean, I didn't even think Duke Nukem Forever did because I mean, people were tired of waiting by the time Duke Nukem Forever came out. It was a piece of garbage. Like, you know, so it's like I don't know. I'm really trying to like see that perspective
Yeah,
of what
it's
like Steven Scott says about having your heart broken by this game because it's kind of not possible for me anymore after all the games that have done that.
I think for me this was one of the big games that stung because I was invested so heavily in it. But once you've seen it as much as we have, looking at the ugly and stuff, you can't unsee it. It sounds pessimistic, but it's hard to look positively on what could be when you
Richard
see
Madden.
the
See, I
foundation.
was gonna say the shoe guy or the football guy.
Oh, the game's either froze or I'm stuck and I can't move.
your menu working? Okay.
Menu works okay. Oh, my cat's arrived. Menu's okay, but I can't physically look around or move. I think I'm stuck between the ground and the water.
Oh no, I wouldn't ignore the chat.
Right. I don't know what else there is to do in this game, honestly.
So to answer Steven's question, from what I've heard, they're not giving up on this game at all. I mean, people keep assuming that, but you know, from what they've actually said, it sounds like they've just split into a number of teams and they're working on a number of things, but they, you know, they do fully intend to do a lot more with this game.
Would anybody be offended or be upset if I changed the gameplay to The Witcher 3? And just
I'd be stoked. The Witcher 3 is beautiful. And honestly, if you want to go to White Orchard, like I could spend my life in White Orchard. There's not much to do there, but
there's a lot of areas I've explored in FreeCam, but I mean, I've played the game literally 3 times over. And I don't know if there's anything left, but I kind of want to compare it, you know. There's so many similarities between the way they've made the game, like when you see.
let's do it right now. I'm having really a good time. Oh, hey, we got another Scot in here.
Dean Ford, Scottish. Where do you stay? Where do you live? Oh, don't tell me where you live, like your address, but whereabouts in Scotland.
Don't tell me.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's why I was so funny. I almost said, like, one of the last times we were streaming, I was like, we have this great clip where Mike flew to my house in Flight Simulator. And then I'm like, wait, no, we can never show that. That would be a terrible idea.
Delete. I just can't believe. I think it stopped snowing now, but holy hell, it was bad.
Is the chat like super delayed or is the stream super delayed? Because it seems like people are responding to stuff I said. Oh, they're watching. Yeah, they're watching it recap. That's right. Stupid.
Say what now?
Nah, it's just some people I think are watching the video and recap, and then like their comments. So they're commenting on stuff we said a minute ago, and it's confusing me. People in the chat are time traveling, Mike, and it's messing my brain up.
Not the problem. So what I'm gonna do, I'm literally gonna just change the word cyberpunk to Witcher 3 because I don't want people joining and
You
be
just
like, what?
deleted me instead.
Oh, I'll be back in a sec.
I know, right, Dean? Like that's what I'm saying. Is like, you know, maybe I only see Scots that are actors and musicians and stuff, but like y'all seriously got some like bones in your faces.
No. That's just good genetics, my friend. Well, I would say good genetics, but my father's an asshole. So, hey, another butt joke.
I mean, we're from like everywhere in America, so it's not, you know, it's not really. A lot of us are not directly related to each other in any way or from the same genetic pool, so nothing can be said standard about Americans and how we appear. Besides it, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it.
What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, besides that, you know, we tend to be obese and have beady eyes, but I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I've only got the beady eyes.
Hey man, you should see how some Scottish people look. Right, so I'm pretty sure I installed The Witcher here recently because I was doing a comparison. It's probably still going to be like ready to go.
Yeah, there was definitely like when they started working on Cyberpunk 2077, there was a lot of people still from The Witcher 3, and then there was apparently kind of like a mass exodus in 2019 or something like that. So,
Okay, I'm gonna play this game on the PC. I'm gonna play this, but I'm gonna use the FreeCam mod. Wait, can I still use the FreeCam mod? Did I install it properly? I think I did. And there's a couple of things that I found that I'm not sure you know about.
awesome! That's exciting. Most exciting thing I've heard all day.
You just posed a question like, you wonder how many people are still working at CD Projekt Red that worked in The Witcher.
Oh boy!
And I found something, and I was like, I wonder when this was introduced into the game. I need to keep this. I need to think about what I'm doing here because I need to keep your window open because then you would just disappear.
So I'm just gonna chat on something that Dean said here. On the vocal minority are always the complainers, and that more people like cyberpunk. So I really hope that that's true, honestly, because I mean, how do I say this without becoming more of the most hated man on YouTube? I mean, if honestly, like, if Cyberpunk 2077, like the level of how angry some people have gotten about it and how much, like basically the way they talk about it versus, what I consider of like, someone bombing your country or, poison in the water supply or like, even someone ran your dog over by a car. Like, like the level of what people are reacting to it is almost on that level of like real world events that can result in someone's death. And so if a lot of people are more even keeled about it and are not that insane about it, it would definitely make me feel a lot better about the world and humanity and not that everyone's a bunch of friggin' maniacs. Because as content creators who have dared to cover some Cyberpunk 2077, like, I don't even think we've got the most of it. We're fairly neutral in our coverage of the game. But I mean, there are some people, it's like, I mean, there's definitely a fairly constant stream of people that are just, foul mouth, bad attitude, hate it to the core, just nothing but negative stuff to say about it. It's definitely everywhere. There's enough of them and they have enough time that they manage to flood anybody who dares to talk about this game. They will make their comments known there.
Yeah, and it's all repeated as well. It's all the same thing over and over again. Why is The Witcher 3 not?
So I try to tell myself that it's like, hey, this game really, I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like I was here on day one, there was problems, but like, it's not like I wouldn't react the way it's like, again, if somebody hit my dog with a car, like it's not like that. So I try to tell myself that that is a small, very vocal, possibly insane minority. But it is sometimes, as the person reading those comments and stuff, it is sometimes hard to like keep that straight.
For some reason, The Witcher does not want to. Oh, there we go. It's just covered over everything else, though. I need to change the whereabouts it is. So it's going to be.
Well, and that's the other thing. What Steven Scott is saying, I think it has the bones and world to be a great game. So it's like that's what it keeps driving me crazy. Is like I hope all the people that they've hired recently are those people who can just take this mess and clean it up because it is doable. Like there's so much stuff I see in this game. I'm like, oh wow, no, there's totally people that know how to do that because I've seen that in another game and it works way better. So it's just it's almost a crying shame to have it like out here with its ass hanging out. Like we're gonna do it's all butts today, by the way, people to have the game out here with its ass hanging out because they don't have the ability to put out a build that fixes enough of this stuff very visibly for people to see. Um, and it's just what I feel is a huge shame because this stuff is very very fixable, and the right group of people could very quickly just tear through this list and make this stuff work.
Sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm trying to figure out why I can hear The Witcher in my headset. Yeah, I can't
It
actually see the.
yeah, it's froze on the logo for us.
Yeah, so I've got it paused on the screen, but yeah.
That's a good point. What Yoel said. I think haters are needed because they make up for the people that are either too young to care or too conformist to complain. So that's definitely, I mean, there's that to an extent, but like, so as a friend, like, so yeah, I'm full of unpopular opinions. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I'm not one of the people. I like to say I let out all my hate on the prequel trilogy and the George Lucas raped my childhood generation. And so I don't have any left for the sequel trilogy. So, it's like I've seen the new Star Wars movies and I've been like, oh, yeah, well, kind of entertained. That's cool. I'm happy, whatever. Whereas it's like people being super angry. So it's like from having that experience, I don't know if there really are a shortage of people on the internet that are fans of anything that are going to hold them accountable and, contrast those people because it's like with Star Wars, like, there are probably millions of us that are like, yeah, this is fine and are not able to drown out those people at all. So it's like, I think the negative people are definitely, they at least have more energy. Um,
Okay.
See, no, that's interesting. I don't know any Star Wars fans that were, of an adult age or at least teenagers. I was a teenager when the prequel trilogy came out, who actually feel that the prequel trilogy is better than the sequel trilogy. Like a lot of us are just like they're both not the best, but I don't know if like I would go so bold. I feel that it's really hard to say that anything is worse than the prequels for me, given that I am part of the George Lucas did the bad thing generation.
Hey, I'm playing The Witcher finally. Okay. Um,
Oh, yeah, it looks good now.
yeah, it's pretty stable. Okay, so I need to go to Tucson.
I actually wished I could have been a little younger when so I it's weird for me because it's like I grew up in the Star Wars Legends generation. My Star Wars wasn't any movie trilogy. It was books and comic books and video games made in the late 80s and early 90s. So it's like I almost wish I would have been a little younger so that I could have been in the prequel generation and been a teenager when Clone Wars came out. And, I've absolutely loved that and been like, oh, I don't care if the prequels are bad. This show is amazing. Whereas like I was really busy trying not to be evicted from my house in my early 20s when the Clone Wars show was on. Like, I didn't have cable, to say the least.
I don't even have TV. I'm not gonna lie. I literally only use Netflix and Amazon Prime. I don't even have a TV signal.
Oh yeah, well I don't have cable now, but back then that was how you watched content.
Yeah, I just hate watching terrestrial TV because of all the advertisements and commercials. I can't stand it. Anywho, let's go flying.
So I went to the Star Wars, the special edition of Return of the Jedi, dressed as an Ewok when I was a kid because
That
I had
does
an
not
Ewok
surprise
costume.
me.
I mean, I'm kind of a weird person, so nothing should surprise you. But wait a minute, when did you not get the free cam working? Like, why did you need the console if you have this?
Because
Oh, because it doesn't spawn assets out here unless you move the model, doesn't it?
correct. However,
Right, right.
that all goes out the window. Um, when you come up here, if you hang around for just a little while,
Yeah, let's see. That's one reason why it's like I'm kind of sensitive sometimes about making jokes about fat people because let's just say I was Ewok shaped as a kid. So I definitely wouldn't have made a very good Chewbacca either.
where the hell is it? I hate it when this happens. You find something and then there it is. It'll still be laggy for you.
It's also really bright. What is the?
Right, so you can see that, right?
Yeah,
As I get a little bit closer.
I've never watched out of bounds exploration videos of this game really much though. I've just watched a few, like one at Caremore and. Oh, that's sweet. I love it.
But look at what this guy's wearing. Look.
Which you gotta be more specific. Which one? Oh, a cyberpunk shirt. That's funny.
So I just wonder how long. Well, we know that Cyberpunk was in development for a long time, but I wonder if
Well, and they
this.
started selling merch way before it was actually like
Yeah.
being worked on for real.
So yeah, I found that quite amusing. I was like, oh, the first thing I spotted, like the guy in the front wearing a Cyberpunk t-shirt. But yeah, this is.
Oh, much appreciated, John. We will see you in the future.
Catch you later, John.
That's weird that it's funny how it only like the level of detail scaling, it only shows the picture. You have to go up and investigate it and stand right in front of it. It's like
Yeah,
intentionally made that way. That's cool. I like that.
you can spawn Geralt to specific locations using X, Y, and Z coordinates, but I'm not sure how you view the coordinates. There is a way of looking at the
Oh,
coordinates in the script, um, and there are mods and stuff you can spawn Geralt. But I'm not sure if it would make much of a difference, like with assets loading and stuff, because the only things that don't seem to spawn is NPCs. Like there are some horrific examples of NPCs being dismembered and dismantled in nearby towns that Geralt is nowhere near because like their eyeballs are floating out their skull and their mouth is disjointed and stuff. It's horrifying to see. Um, but what's interesting
It's
about
weird that
what's
they
weird?
even have eyeballs and stuff when they're that far away from you.
Yeah. What's interesting is that all the cave entrances and stuff, they're all actually covered with rock. There's no holes until you zoom in. So
Well, at this distance, there's so it. Oh wait, but it's still there. Okay, never mind. My explanation totally would not make any sense.
it's weird,
They
right?
were they were bad. I was gonna say they were bad shit crazy even back then. They just got away with it because they weren't trying to build giant cities.
But like there's loads of
Heat tree
interesting
is
stuff.
cheap.
Oh, well, we'll go to Vizima and I'll show you um what I mean about the scaffolding being deleted. Oh, you know about that already, but you went outside Vizima, so you'd have seen
I
all the
actually did it. So here's the thing: I did that in the Wii version on a modded Wii using PC mods in the Wii version. So I don't know actually when they removed that or if it was the same. Or sorry, not Wii, Switch. Wow, too many Nintendo systems in my lifetime. Switch version.
I think it's pretty cool they added this to Switch. But the interesting thing is, you can see Vizima from White Orchard, or what's meant to be Vizima from White Orchard. Um,
I
if
actually want to say, oh, go ahead.
like I
Sorry.
say, if the next gen version of this game is completely seamless in the way that you can walk the entire map from Novigrad Vizima and sail to Skellige from the main map, that would be epic. Not gonna happen, but it would be epic.
This is just making me even more want to do that playthrough of Fable with the out of bounds cheat because I kind of like that. Like I kind of like. This is a weird thing to say. I guess this shows like what a kind of myopic person I can be. But I like to have my way even years later. Like when I played Fable on Xbox way back in 2004 or whatever, I was like, God, I want to just get out of bounds. I want to just get over this stupid fence. And so it's like, yeah, I could just do it in the PC version on my computer that now runs like 200 times faster than computers of the day did. And I can run it 4K, 60 frames per second, no problem. But I'm like, no, I'm going to do it on the Xbox, my same Xbox with my controller, with, like, and I'm going to modify the Xbox. I'm going to make the PC mods work on the Xbox, and I'm going out of bounds in Fable on the Xbox the same way I originally played it when it came out in 2004. Like, there's satisfaction in that to finally
Yeah,
get your way.
totally. Now, do you see something wrong with these windows here? Like,
Yeah, they appear to be missing some textures.
yeah. So if you go inside the building and then turn around,
Well, there must be one-sided.
it's
They
all
should all be one-sided, honestly.
it's like you can. Oh god. But yeah, they totally removed the scaffolding here, and there's still boxes and stuff floating around. So that was their answer to stopping console gamers escaping out of bounds.
Oh, that's just disappointing. I don't know. Like, I just don't like that attitude. I don't like that whack-a-mole attitude to know that they're sitting there on the other side. Like, we're sitting here on the one side, just being like, I want to explore, I want to see, I want to play with this thing that you sold me that should now be mine. And on the other side, they're sitting there with a big hammer, like, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Like that bothers me on a like fundamental level.
So
That shouldn't be the way.
this looks familiar, right? Like black
Yeah.
boxes, raised up areas,
Oh
and it's
yeah,
like
it's clearly the same engine.
yeah, blood-soaked ground. There's meant to be something here, whether it's for a cutscene or not, I have no idea. But about the caves and stuff, I'm thinking there probably should have been a cave. Where did I see the cave entrance? Oh yeah, I'm thinking this was probably a cave entrance with the white box. If that
Oh
makes
yeah, that
sense.
does. Would you zoom straight backwards for just a moment, please?
Zoom back.
I just want to see it mip. A little farther if you would. I mean, I think you're right. That's what that looks like to me. That's a lot of actually what I do, not being a game developer, but like doing this stuff is like looking at older versions of the games and being like, is that an older version of this same technique that you see in the launch game? I think you're right on about that. Oh, what is that spot that just to the left side of that mound? There's like a white spot that popped up in the distance when you go away from things in Cyberpunk 2077. Places where there used to be entrances from things that are now removed from the game will show up as white and black squares in the distance.
Yeah, there's quite a
Just like
few
those
of them.
holes in the ground, but they're like the shape of the doorway that used to be there, but it's totally invisible when you're closer.
There's quite a few. There's lakes and stuff, or what looks like lakes.
I love how half-assed that skybox is. Like it looks great. I'm sorry, it's a beautiful, beautiful skybox, but it's like from the right angle, you can totally see that it's just copy and pasted. Like a lot of the cloud sprites are exactly the same.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, there's a few boxes and stuff here. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. Big
Looks
open.
familiar.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just wondering why there's even weirder stuff. Like these textures look very familiar. For like the outskirts of Cyberpunk, like on the Badlands, and then you have floating trees.
This reminds me of going out of bounds in World of Warcraft back in the day.
Yeah. I'm wondering if this is kind of their equivalent of Texture Island. Like this is all of their is it, I'm not sure if it's all their textures, but it's most of them.
It's kind of what it looks like, where it's just like they were experimenting. It's weird that they leave stuff like that in there. Like, why waste space on the disk and leave this stuff in here?
No idea. But the
I
weird
mean, maybe they want us to check it out. Some of them do.
some of them do. The weird thing is that this is meant to be the castle in Vizima, and it's quite close to White Orchard. But when you go to White Orchard, you can actually see Vizima in the distance. You can fly there in free cam. I'm just wondering if they decided to make just the castle because it was too much work to add in Vizima. Maybe they were going to do more Vizima missions or something, but it just seems a bit strange when you're in a cutscene with Yennefer and you're running to Vizima. You can see it, and then ultimately it's just a castle.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if those two are related. It almost feels like originally you weren't going to go to Vizima at all. There were just going to be cutscenes there
I
where
think
the
so.
Emperor's just chilling and doing his thing and it would show, but then they were like, "Oh no, you should actually have to go and talk to him in person because, they don't do a lot of scenes where it just shows you something that you would have no way of knowing. Like usually there's a character that you talk to who was present for it, and the idea is this is being told to Geralt later.
Yeah, true.
They chose not to do that Star Wars like thing where they cut away to this is the bad guys, da 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 da,
It's pretty cool though. Like I like the way they've done it, regardless. But you can definitely see the similarities between this and Cyberpunk.
Yeah, that is a good old fashioned prop town. I mean, sorry, in movies, prop
Yeah,
town, but like in video games, distance actors. But it looks like, literally the way they build movie set fake towns and westerns and stuff where they put
yeah.
up like wooden facades and little stakes behind them. It's like,
It's just randomness.
I love starting areas in video games. I've said this before, but I just like it's the area that the Nova part of the game will ever get as much effort as the opening tutorial area because they just fine tune the hell out of it and they're often the very best experience, except in Twilight Princess, where Orden Village is definitely not the best part of Twilight Princess. It was pretty fun, but
Always wonder what was inside here. Nothing, as usual.
oh, I know. It's so disappointing doing that in video games when you finally get to see inside something.
But only to be expected, I guess. But yeah, I don't know why CD Projekt Red didn't do the same thing. I know it's about like seamless open world, no loading screens and stuff, but I think they really could have used some loading screens in Cyberpunk. Even just using the elevators for loading. Come on.
Yeah, it loads when you go too far anyway. Like the whole point of trying to design a seamless map, it doesn't matter because they weren't able to do it. So if you ever have to travel too far, like you can actually do it. Like you can fast travel a short distance and it doesn't load, even on the consoles, it's just like boom, you're there because it's all already in memory. But it's like if you have to go far enough, you always have to have a loading screen. So it's like, well, what was the point? Like at some point they must have realized that was they were gonna have to compromise anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well the next gen version runs, like how smooth it runs, how fast it loads, if the graphics are in fact going to be improved. 'Cause you can't get ray tracing on an Xbox Series X, but
Wait, yes, you can.
can you?
Yeah, yeah, you totally can.
Do you think they would add it?
Yeah, well, so it's not. I'm trying to remember what it's equivalent of. It's like equivalent of the performance of the like low mid-range AMD card, but it has ray tracing capability. It has that hardware built in. It's not super high end. Like the medium has it. There's a few other games. Battlefield has ray tracing.
Okay.
It's never going to be like what you can do on RTX card on this game because it just doesn't have enough. I don't even know how it's. I haven't even looked in how ray tracing hardware works, but ray tracing units or whatever makes it better or worse doesn't have enough to ever do like as much as a full dedicated desktop card on the PS5 or the Series.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it, but don't know. It's hard to stay positive. I'm just wondering if they're gonna release the next gen and then go, actually, we're gonna be doing other projects. What did I see? I'm trying
Well,
to.
and I think multiplayer would change a lot too, because it's like I mean I can play through a lot of content that I would otherwise be bored of if I'm able to do it with friends.
Yeah, true. That would add another level. Why is it? It's interesting. Like because I'm floating outside the map, the time of day doesn't seem to be working properly. Oh
It might
God.
also not update. It could be like other stuff that doesn't update until you actually like make contact in the world, like only your character model. Like you're not initialized right now,
Yeah.
so only some stuff actually functions.
Well, this is definitely the Witcher 3 Biotechnica flats.
Yeah, totally. The military encampment.
Yeah. 100%.
You can definitely feel the same DNA, and it is funny though because it's like looking at the two compared. A lot of people have this view that CD Projekt Red were just gods when they made The Witcher 3, and suddenly became morons when they made Cyberpunk 2077. And it's like, no, I mean, not saying that explains everything, but it can be a simple matter of like scale and what you're trying to do. Like you can take a game engine and a bunch of people who have experience making something, and then you try to do something else, and it's just like, oh, well, that was way more different than we expected. There is a lot of that to it. Like a lot of these techniques they use to cover up the stuff that wasn't, really true to life in this game worked when there's just a bunch of trees and stuff in the background. Whereas when it's building, suddenly everybody notices. And when there's NPCs disappearing and there's not a bunch of trees and bushes and, just difference about the base design and setting of the game of where a lot of the stuff that used to work just doesn't work anymore.
Mm. I'm trying to find the DLC areas that are outside the map. Because there are quite a few. I did find it interesting they just kind of plopped it in under the map. Like the Master Mirror's location is under the map, and a lot of the mansions for Von Everett are just outside, and you can go to the actual mansion, which is in the world, and then you can go to the mansion which is like the painted fantasy world as well.
That reminds me of Dark Souls. Painted World is like my favorite Dark Souls area. The Painted World in Dark Souls 1 was my favorite area in all the games. With some serious wind going on out here.
Yeah, man. Should have plotted a marker on the map. I thought it was over here.
Oh, we got John Freeman's complaining that we're boring. Hey, well, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, there's not much more to talk about when it comes to Cyberpunk. Or I mean, I guess you
I'm
could.
actually kind of like,
What?
no, sorry, just lag makes it hard. Sometimes I accidentally cut you off because there's a slight delay on us. I feel like comparing things to GTA is something that everybody's doing right now and kind of falls on that. Like, I try not to do what everybody is doing. Like, sometimes I do, but like, I also feel that it's like, first of all, comparing GTA 5, like, anybody who's like saying comparing GTA 5 now to Cyberpunk 2077, it's like, okay, I played GTA 5 when it came out, and when the consoles, like, a lot of people seem to forget that there was no PS4 and Xbox One when GTA 5 came out. That was the Xbox 360 and the PS3, where it ran like utter garbage, had at least as many bugs as Cyberpunk 2077. It was a horrible experience, and we were complaining about it, and this stuff does get forgotten and swept under the rug, and the narrative totally changes, and suddenly Grand Theft Auto 5 is the most perfect immersive realistic game ever after 8 years or something, and should be compared apples to Cyberpunk. It's like, nope, I was there, I haven't forgotten. That is not the accurate narrative. Sorry, I just like triggered a little bit on that because a lot of people have been like, just doing that, like, oh yeah, this game that's, made a ton of money after launch and has been able to consistently fund improvements and patches and all that because it's people are out there buying in-game money for real money, which should be a freaking crime.
Oh well. Yeah, I mean that that's why a lot of people say not to pre-order games anymore, right? Because once they get a certain amount of pre-orders, they just stop trying.
I definitely feel that way. Like, I don't think that it's good for gamers to participate in pre-release hype or pre-orders. I think that entirely benefits publishers and also helps them honestly abuse developers. Like, it does not, anyone who loves gaming does not benefit from pre-release hype, pre-orders, all this kind of stuff. It's all a manipulation tactic trying to make it less about love of the game. That's just.
Um, I'm not sure where I am right now. Oh,
LCGX, you gotta be joking. I mean, you're joking, right? Our names are on the screen. Okay, cool. Just didn't notice. No worries, no worries. It was probably the bar was up over it or something. No judgment.
I'm not sure where I
I just
am.
had to.
There's like
We get a lot of
random.
people come in and saying stuff, sarcastic stuff, so.
I'm not in Crookbet, but that's where Geralt is. Yeah, there's like a boat here. There seems to be some kind of cemetery. Probably something to do with the
Oh,
DLC mission, but
isn't this? No, this isn't where you like go to like Gaunter's world, is it? No.
I don't know. I'm struggling to remember. Um, it might just be the fact I'm so far off away from Geralt that this is just a genuine area that hasn't loaded properly.
I think it's weird that I can't.
Oh, this is
It's
where the party is for yeah, it's one of the Contra missions, but it's where the party is.
yes, yeah. Okay, totally. I knew it was like I remember this has something to do with Gaunter.
That's weird
Okay,
how
cool.
usually you can walk here normally in the game, like as Geralt. It must be because we're so far away that it's just not
Yeah,
spawning
I'm
properly.
in. So what Steven just said talking about like wanting to re-download The Witcher. So not about The Witcher, but I'm in one of those weird modes. Like I go through phases with gaming, and like I will have these periods where it's like I kind of want to replay through stuff I've played before, but then I feel like it's not going to be satisfying enough, and it's like it's all part of this cycle of that like slow period in the first year of a new console generation, and PC developers kind of base their stuff around that too, and like yeah, I'm definitely feeling that on a level where I keep getting that urge, and I'm like, no, no, let it go longer. But that's one thing I've learned that is really important is let it go longer before you replay your favorite games. Because if you really want it to have that punch, like I hadn't played Zelda Ocarina of Time start to finish since like 2002 when the GameCube disc came out, and it was good. It was satisfying when I did it a couple weeks ago, and like, so yeah, I would say I'm also feeling it, but I'm trying to hold off. Oh yeah, sorry. That's for you, Mike.
Was that?
You switched from the to the Witcher.
Yeah, did I not change the title?
No, you did.
Oh,
It's just a.
yeah, we were just driving around talking about stuff. I was like climbing buildings and things like that. Just
He's he's been up for almost a day too.
yeah, I think what time are we on just now? We're like approaching midnight. So yeah, 21 hours. So yeah. So it's probably
It's nice though, because like I don't know, it's I kind of enjoy doing these honestly. Like even if only a few people watch on a lot of them, like it's kind of fun doing this.
yeah. And I'm kind of covering stuff that I was gonna do in videos, but I just didn't feel like it was necessary. It, you know, just covering things that have already been covered years before or by multiple different people. There's no benefit to that. The benefit for me is doing it for myself and just discovering new areas which I've never seen before in free fly and stuff. So I was kind of just moseying around for me, and there are plenty of other videos where people kind of break down this game. I think I sent you a channel recently, didn't I?
I think for me, it's like I mean, I definitely I'd like to be first on stuff, but I want to create. My whole goal in creating content is just that it's like if all my hobbies are is just me sitting there by myself and having a really good time and doing all this cool stuff in video games and no one cares, like my little cousins don't care, my brother doesn't care, my wife doesn't care, I mean it's like you got to eventually share it with the world. You just build model trains or you make tutorials about building model trains. And so it's like I'm trying to do that in some way, even though I'm this like kind of inept in a lot of ways, but it's like that's really where I come from is I don't want to make repetitive content that other people can do better, honestly, because they got better equipment, more skills, all that stuff than me. But like I want to find something that I can do justice to where it is contributing to other people. Because when I see a video, sometimes like I'll see a video by like Sega Lord X Cannot Be Tamed, one of the channels that I like, where they're talking about retro video games or something, and they'll bring me back to that moment. They'll put me in the moment where the gaming joy was created for me by something besides a video game, by someone else talking about a video game. And I'm like, oh, that was so good. Like I need to do that for other people. Like that's what makes this worthwhile of not just consuming, not just having a gravy spout in my mouth to just consume fun, but like try to find ways to create the best part of that experience for other people. That's really where I come from.
Yeah.
And I don't always make it there. I shouldn't have even said that because I'm probably well below that standard most of the time.
As long as you're having fun doing it. I mean, this is one of my favorite areas in free cam. I mean, these mountains are just gorgeous. I mean, if things spawned in just a little bit further away, like so it wasn't so obvious about them popping in, you can make some really beautiful cinematic shots in this area. They
I
look
love
so
beautiful
good.
scenery out of bounds. It's so great. Like,
But what's
because
crazy
there's a
is,
sense of freedom when you get out into the world. There's that sense of freedom of being truly free when you're out of bounds in a video game. Like when you're hiking. I keep comparing it to like backpacking, mountaineering, stuff like that. But it kind of feels like that when you break out. It's like that feeling you get when you walk into a national forest and you're outside the boundaries of normal human civilization.
yeah,
I don't know.
it, it,
I
it,
feel the connection.
it's crazy to me how much of the outside exists. It's like Kaer Morhen is quite a small playable area, but yet there's so much outside. Okay, it's empty space, but it's a lot of empty space, and I mean,
It's more that like instead of endpoint first design, it's like front first design where they came up with this all. They're just like, oh, build the whole world around it, and then start making the actual part that's necessary. It's a weird design philosophy they seem to have.
and there's a lot of areas that look like the prepped. That they've prepped it, and then they've decided actually it's too big. Let's do something else, or maybe it's just big for the cinematic shots that they actually do, and the camera's quite high up.
Yeah, and that's one thing that like we talk about that a lot in Cyberpunk, whereas it's like we had somebody join the server just yesterday and was talking about seeing the Kujira, and it's like, well, Technically, it's not really visible, but there is like one part where you fly in an AV and you go over the Arasaka waterfront. And if you are playing on PC with like high detail settings and everything, you could just barely see the Kujira out there in the bay. And so, did they make the model just for that part? I don't know, but technically it is visible in that part. You have to wonder with CD Project Red sometimes.
Yeah. What I had to laugh about at Kaer is that there's the interior. Oh, what happened there? The interior of the towers as have windows and stuff, which that's fine. But also the towers inside the the hilltop have windows in as well, but the windows are pointless because there's a rock behind them. I'm trying to find them as an example now, I can't do it.
Dark Souls is really weird like that, whereas it's like they used some sort of generation system or like prefabs to build the castles and towers and stuff out of. And from the areas you can be within gameplay, it like makes sense, like the way a building is designed, because someone's gone over it by hand and made it make sense. So that it's not like weird, like Escher-esque geometry that doesn't make any friggin' sense. But when you fly out of bounds and you look at it from other angles, it's just like this insane nonsense of like where doorways and pathways go nowhere and stairs go in weird directions. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. There's a few places like that in here, but I'm struggling to find them again. Oh well. But yeah, it, the work they did on this on The Witcher 3 was, let's be honest, there wasn't many flaws with the game. There wasn't many flaws at all. There were a few, but it pales
I never
in
played it at
comparison.
launch, so it's kind of hard to say. Like, I mean, it's never really like, once a game's had years and a bunch of patches, it's hard to evaluate how broken it could have been at some other point. So,
Yeah. Catch
but
later.
I have to say, by the time I played it, it was pretty seamless.
Yeah, I didn't see many problems with it. Catch later, Dean. Thanks for hanging out.
You'll
Um,
never take our freedom.
I'm probably gonna disappear as well, to be honest with you, because I feel like I'm not really contributing to anything useful. I'm just kind of flying around, and I'm very very tired. Um, but it's been
Oh, that's
fun.
legitimate. Yeah, it's fun to do this stuff sometimes because it's like, there's stuff we can't do like a huge video about every single thing, but there's other stuff that is just worth talking about. And for the people interested enough to hunt us down when we stream on occasion, you know,
Yeah,
discuss it without making a whole video.
all this stuff here is just for cinematics and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still going to be working on the debug menu for Cyberpunk, just for my own thing, and I'll just record videos and release them, just so there's something there just to document it. But I think we're just kind of sitting waiting for DLC now, really, aren't we? And just the patches to see what happens. Just a waiting game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to decide how much energy I want to put into doing like holiday stuff because I'm way into the holidays, but if nobody's gonna watch it, I don't want to really bust my ass on a holiday cyberpunk video. But I could probably keep busy throughout this month. Is all I'm saying. Like, if they're gonna get this patch out early next year, between making a Christmas special, a New Year's party video, a few things like that, I could probably stay busy for a minute. Boy, that looks familiar. The way there's just like random extra objects sticking out underneath the
Yeah,
caves, just like in Cyberpunk.
yeah. Oh well. I think that's
One
it.
thing I like about doing these streams is it's like almost nobody comes in that is not friendly. I mean, I'm not saying I just need everybody to be nice to me all the time, but it's nice to not waste your time with the people that are just trolling or just being, just want to scream at somebody about Cyberpunk 2077 and be able to have a proper conversation. Whereas a lot of times, just from the comments or being on Reddit and stuff like that, it's like, it seems like everybody's a bunch of friggin' maniacs. It is nice talking to some rational, calm people who are just willing to, have a conversation about our love of gaming.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I totally understand that a lot of people are still very, very sore, but you know, it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I'm trying to identify with that. I can't feel that anymore. I've already lived through the Star Wars prequel trilogy and Duke Nukem Forever and all this stuff.
Oh, there was a dungeon in The Witcher 3 that was never finished, Devil's Pit in Novigrad, but it's literally just a cave like any other that backs up on itself.
There's one in World of Warcraft. So there's the Karazhan Crypts it was going to be like a raid that they never did, but it's creepy AF because like most of World of Warcraft is kind of like it's very like Disney-esque kind of PG-13 kind of stuff. And in this one cut dungeon, you go down there and there's like this body pit where there's like chained up bodies hanging upside down in this, pit full of water. And like there's just all these like, like gore and blood and like bones and stuff. You're like, wow,
That's
this
kind
is
of
very
similar.
R-rated for World of Warcraft.
That's kind of similar to the cut cave that's in this, actually. Believe it or not, there's a few piles of bodies, but that's only the real detail. Is like a few chairs and a few piles of bodies. But it does have a few things that probably look like portals were meant to be there. Probably just another side quest, but interesting nonetheless. But again, already been documented probably over 100 times. So, but
I'm
yeah,
hoping maybe we can find something new on Elden Ring. Like it'll be nice to get on a game before everybody else does it. But another problem is like a lot of the people that are really good at this love Souls games.
yeah, I'm hoping that if there is going to be an open network test, as unlikely as that might be, it'll be pretty cool to jump on it and try a few things. Ugh, god damn it, I'm tired.
Oh yeah, no, I think Steven, isn't that the dungeon in Final Fantasy 15? I did a bunch of out of bounds exploration in Final Fantasy 15. That was some of my earliest videos still up on YouTube.
Never played any Final Fantasy games.
15 is a little different than most of the other ones, but I've played a lot of them. I've been a fan of Final Fantasy for many years.
I can't believe how
But
many
yeah,
there
15 is
actually
very
are.
different.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense when you play them because they're not actually related to each other in any way. It's more like, like how Call of Duty, they make a bunch of them, but only a few of them are actually continued in the same story and stuff and have anything to do with each other. More like most of the Final Fantasies have absolutely nothing to do with each other, and it's just like they use the name to sell role-playing games made by the same company.
Yeah, but I mean they are similar in nature, though, aren't they? The games. Very nice colors. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like right now, for some reason, we only have one key to our shed, and my wife has it on her key ring, so I just have to wait for her to get home to get my old Xbox out. I think I'm gonna do that immediately when she gets home, and I'm gonna start playing Fable Out of Bounds.
You need to learn how to lockpick, and then you
Wait,
can get your
oh
shed.
yeah, in the real world.
Yeah. I did that. I learned how to lockpick because I wanted to see how easy it was or hard it was based off of Fallout. So
I just need to go buy a new padlock for probably well under $50 with a new set of keys.
does that as well. But yeah, lockpicking is actually surprisingly easy when you get into it. Not that I'm condoning anyone try.
Why are there all those birds?
um,
What is going on?
I think they're just around this part of the water for the cutscenes and stuff.
Oh, okay. You suddenly come into the middle of some sort of bird convention.
Yeah, and they'll be coming back in a minute. They're swallows, I think. But yeah, definitely my favorite area to free fly. But anyway, I'm gonna end the stream because I need to go to bed. But it's been fun.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. See, it's Tuesday for me. I mean, it must be Wednesday. It's Wednesday now, right, for you?
I honestly don't know what year it is. If I'm being
Okay, fair
honest.
enough. Take me back. Take me back to 1999.
Like, yes, it's. What did you say it was? Wednesday.
Yeah, it's still Tuesday for me.
It's still Tuesday for me, I think. Let me just check. Is it Tuesday? That's bad. Yes, it's Tuesday up until, yeah, another half an hour and it'll be Wednesday. Jesus Christ. You know you're tired when you gotta check the day.
Yeah, so we both have a couple things we're trying to come up with for videos in the near future. It's been hard for me to find motivation to do videos at the moment, but which is just a thing. Like, I don't know, anybody who's ever been a content creator on YouTube, like, I don't know what it's about if you make, millions of dollars and you can buy yourself a new Ferrari doing it. But for a lot of us, it just like comes and goes in waves where it gets fatiguing at times, where you make a whole bunch of content, you get really excited, make a bunch of stuff you were really stoked on, and then just literally you do not want to look at an editor window for 6 months. And like, I'm kind of just recovering from one of those now.
I've kind of been into no, well, not puzzle games, but like mystery thriller games. Like, you need to check out 12 Minutes. 12
I
Minutes
have it
is
downloaded, I just haven't started it.
12 Minutes is interesting. It's a very interesting, frustratingly good game. Very much like that one you were playing. Was it Silent? The Hideo Kojima.
Oh, PT.
Yes, very very similar. It kind of.
Everything is like PT since PT.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it, and Observation as well. Very very good game.
Yeah, I think I will have to. It's weird. Like, I don't know. I go through periods where I play games that I want to for myself just for fun, and then I go through periods where I do nothing but gaming to create content. And I think I'm about due for a gaming for myself for fun period.
Yeah, yeah. I might finish the Outer Worlds DLC that I didn't finish when it came out. So I might try that, and then we'll just see there. So, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with the debug up to a point. I
See,
might just finish the missions and then see if there's anything worth digging into with the minor stuff. But yeah, we'll see.
now of course though I've come up with another project I want to do. I'm like, oh nope, I want to play all the way through Fable with the mods on the original Xbox. There's another, 20 hours or something.
Yeah. We'll come up with something, I'm sure. But until then, I'll catch everyone later, and I don't know. Until next time, I suppose. Uh,
Yeah, cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been fun.
Bye. If I can find my cursor to turn the stream off, and I can't do that. I need to leave The Witcher. It's not very happy that I'm trying to leave. We have a problem.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we
Are
have a
we still
problem. We
live?
can't
What's
leave.
going on
The
here?
Witcher does not want us to
Oh,
leave. I
uh-oh.
I can't close it. I can't close the game.
Oh, and right when Perfectly Normal Beast joined. Hey, that's cool. You know what? I was just talking about that of burnout, of where it's like when you create, I mean, anyone honestly, I feel, who creates anything for other people, even if you're like, I consider myself a peasant, of content creation. We all deserve to take breaks to just have games for fun. Because remember, a lot of the people watching you, they don't, and I mean, this isn't anything against our audience, but like most people do nothing but indulge themselves with their hobbies. They're not trying to create content or anything. So it's like it gets fatiguing. Sometimes you just got to have fun for yourself. And remember that, like, that is all this is to a lot of people, is just literally having fun for yourself to kill the hours in your day. And like, we all deserve that. Even if you suck as a content creator, even if you're somebody who gets 70% dislikes, you still deserve to take a break and have fun for yourself with games.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So now I finally got The Witcher to close. I had to leave the free cam. I'll catch everyone later. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time in Cyberpunk.
Happy trails.